yeah, this kind of plays out, and then we'll get into some gaming and all that kind of fun stuff. So. Yeah, hopefully everyone is having a good time. Can't wait to start talking about the divisive PS5 Pro, because as you guys know, that is always fun to talk about. Oh, that disgusting, nasty PS5 Pro, man. Ugh, man, social media is having a field day with that one. Oh, I cannot wait to talk about some stuff, because might trigger some people. Not gonna lie, could trigger some people, but we'll get into that in a bit, because I was at the notifications, but no, because it is very interesting what people are saying online, but then what people will do in like reality, essentially. And I actually have a comment that I have screenshotted from our chat, like not our chat, but like one of our videos from like the last day or so, I should say. And I'm like, all right. Okay, we will definitely be discussing that, so don't you guys worry. We are definitely gonna get into that. In fact, let me make sure I have that up so that I don't have screenshots. Yeah, this is oh baby, this is gonna be fun to talk about. So once Lemon, and it looks like little Bobby's gonna be jumping here as well. Once these two get in here, we're gonna have some fun discussions. We are gonna have some fun discussions. Oh, I can't wait. So until then, guys, enjoy the background music, and if you have any questions, let me know, because this is gonna be extremely fun. Extremely fun. Honestly, when it comes to this whole PS5 Pro thing, I honestly, like, one, I expected the price, but two, like, it's just, yeah, I'm like, okay, yeah, it like would be nice to have, sure, but yeah, you know, I'm not gonna buy it. Although I will say, little side story here for those of you who don't follow me over on Twitter at Gaming Tallen. Literally the day that the PS5 was announced, I woke up, so it was announced at midnight my time, went to bed and everything, and what up, General? Went to bed, woke up, had to make a video on the PlayStation 5 Pro stuff, just talking with my coworkers and everything. And as we were talking about the PS5, I was like, you know what? I haven't cleaned my PS5. I usually clean my PS5 like twice a year. You know, just simply open or take the plates off, you know, little brush in there to get into any of the weird spots, or, you know, blow any compressed air if I need to. Obviously all unplugged and all that kind of stuff. And I ran my fingers along the top of it, like where by the fan was and everything, just make sure nothing popped out, or, you know, I didn't hear any clinking sounds or anything like that. And all of a sudden this one little wire was a little loose, and I was like, weird. So I lifted up the it's not like a folder tab or anything like that, but it was like this protective sleeve essentially that it basically kept the cables out of the way for like the fan, and then I think there was another one that connects to the motherboard. And so all it does is simply it keeps it out of the way and protect it a little bit. So I lifted it up a little bit, which is normal, because especially if you want to, you know, really like actually remove the fan within the PS5, you can easily do that and everything. And one of the cables was like gone, like at the seam essentially, like that. And I was just like, holy shit, has my fan like not been working at all? And then I was like, okay, hang on. I've never gotten any kind of like heating errors or the system turning off or anything like that. So what happened? Like, was this just recent or something like that? Or, you know, was it really my finger just moving along the cable? Was it that loose? I wasn't really sure. So I was like freaking out, and I'm like, okay. Just calm down here a second. My wife came up and she's like, look, there's a repair shop that they do everything from phones and all that stuff. I will, we'll give them a call real quick, and, you know, maybe you can bring it in tomorrow. I was like, okay, just fix a cable, right? Nothing too crazy. We talked to the guy, and he's like, you know, you have the model number for the PS5, because I have like an original, like the original first year PS5s, which actually I did get used, so it is technically a used system. But so we gave him the number and everything. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, I can fix that cable, no problem. Just bring it in tomorrow. It'll cost you Neiman, which basically is $200. And I sat there like, excuse me, $200 for a cable? And I'm like, nope. Hung up. And I'm like, okay, like what am I missing here? Like, am I really gonna have to replace my entire PS5? Which, keep in mind, they just went up in price here in Japan. So I'm just like, oh mother. So I'm just like, okay, what can I do? And then my wife came to the rescue again, and she's like, I found these online. Would these work? And it was just basically replacing the fan, which obviously comes with a cable attached to it. And I was just like, that makes so much more sense. It was like $30 for the fan and the cable, obviously attached. And I was like, purchased. Next day, threw the fan in, kept one of the sleeves off on the PS5, plugged it in, turned it on, fan worked perfectly, all safe. So I averted a catastrophe, because I'm like, are you kidding me? The day that this Pro is announced, my PS5 might not be, oh my God.
That was literally the universe telling you it's time for a Pro.
It was literally the universe telling me that. I was like, are you freaking kidding me right now about this and everything? And I was just like, God damn it. And my wife looks at me, she's like, do you want to get a PS5 Pro? And I looked at her one eyebrow just up, and I'm like, are you kidding me? And I showed her the price, and she's like, I love you, but no.
He's like, no. You know what you must do. You know what you must do. The universe is telling you, buy it.
I think the universe was telling me that.
It's a tax write-off. Open it on stream.
Ooh, there you go.
Literally tax write-off if it's part of your content. That's what I do every year.
Oh, I know. I mean, like you said, that's literally what you're going to be doing with the PS5 Pro.
Yeah, so. That's what I'm going to be doing with mine. I would do it for direct, but I'm going to do it for my channel.
By all means, do it for your channel. But I do require you to at least make one video on the Zelda game after you've played it and everything. You got to make, whether it's a discussion video or something, you've got to talk about it, because I know you love Zelda, so you have to do that. That is.
I absolutely.
He would never think of doing that. He would never think of making something like that. Are you crazy, Tallen?
I never make Zelda content.
Yeah, this guy hates Zelda.
Yeah, I know. But you know what? It's I have to make you suffer somehow, because you're gonna be putting a PS5 onto your own channel, and it's a Pro. So I gotta make you suffer. So you gotta play Zelda, you Sony pony.
You know what I did get today was the stand and the drive. It came in today.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, no, I still can't believe Level didn't think to go buy a stand or a drive. I'm like, dude, do you know what's gonna happen there? Like, you should probably get on that.
There are people trying to sell the drive for $300 on eBay.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I hate scalpers so much. I was I'm not falling
and that's one of the reasons I was a little scared I had to replace my PS5, because I was like, because the PS5 I have has the disc drive just built into it, right?
Yeah.
So luckily it's a-okay. You're a good little PS5. Yes, you are. You're gonna stay nice and safe until the PS6 comes out. Thank you very much. So,
or you could write it off on your taxes.
Dude, I got a ton of other stuff I need to find first. So
we're doing creative accounting.
Not financial advance or advice.
Yeah, hashtag not financial advice. We are not representative of CPAs or
anything.
Lemon, how are you doing?
But Lemon, I just heard that you beat Astro Bot. You just got a few more bots to find until.
Yeah. I got all 300. I just got them literally before I jumped on. I got all the puzzle pieces. So I still have to do that last. It was like a challenge level or something, whatever the golden thing is.
Yeah.
And then I think I just have to go do those oddball things, like just walking around the crash site, looking at different bots and stuff. And then
that takes like 45 minutes for the 18 trophies in that area. It's ridiculous. It's great. It's great though.
There's a lot in there.
There's like a ton in that area, but it's like, oh, I need to like mop all that up. Let me do that and have it take a half hour.
Yeah, it really isn't that long. And honestly, I like a good chunk of them, because like one of them is like, get frozen by Kratos' axe. Or like, no, it's not you get frozen.
I accidentally did that. I walked up and I hit Kratos, and all of a sudden he turned around and hit Thor with it.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, you have to freeze Thor. Cool. And I just like those little details and everything. I absolutely loved it. I was like, dude, that's awesome. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, real quick question though, I have to ask you guys. Out of the PlayStation levels, so after you beat each levels or Galaxy's bosses, so that's Uncharted, God of War, Horizon. I don't know what the one where you have to use the tilt controls. Is that Flower? I'm not really sure what that one's from.
Oh, Loco Roco.
No, that's
Loco
Loco
Roco.
Roco,
Okay,
yeah.
that's what it is. Okay, so out of all those, which one was your favorite?
Ape Escape or Uncharted?
Okay.
Yeah, Uncharted for me, but Loco Roco is a very close second.
Very close
I was
there.
not expecting Loco Roco at all.
I wasn't either, but it was great.
Whoa, I forgot about this game. Holy crap.
Everyone did.
Everyone
Even
did.
Sony.
Yep. For me personally, I'd have to go with the God of War level. Uncharted was a close second though. I love because like with the Uncharted one, it was the music was very nostalgic. So I was just like, that was nice. But God of War, if you went into like this little like tree trunk area, there's like a tree you go into. I love the TV with God of War on it and everything. That was hilarious.
Oh yeah, I knew you're talking about.
That was funny.
It's unfortunate that that's not Talon's game of the year. You know, I wish it could win, but it didn't have a Ghost of Tsushima level. So Talon says Astro Bot's mid.
I love the Ghost of Tsushima reference though, where Jin is sitting in the hot spring, and if you go up and you smack him, he like just puts all his clothes on, gets his sword right. He's like, what? And then he just sets his sword down, takes his clothes off, and then goes back into the hot spring.
That was one interesting thing about Ghost of Tsushima was the unadulterated ass cheeks just all up in there. Like, oh, it's just some fucking samurai butt cheeks.
So it was the cheeks that got you, not the blood, spewing everywhere from.
Well, no, like I play a samurai game and I expect blood and viscera. I don't expect ass cheeks though. It wasn't offended. I was just like, oh, look at that.
I will say actually, it's actually like when I first saw that, I'm like, you know what? It honestly makes a little bit of sense, only because here in Japan, it is absolutely normal to go to a public, onsen or hot spring or public bath or anything, and you see that. So
nah, that offends my American sensibilities.
Yeah, we're too uptight for that.
My mom, it's funny when my parents visited last year. My mom was like, "Oh, I really want to go to one of those onsens or Japanese hot springs," and I'm like, I looked at her, I said, "Mom, are you okay being exposed in front of other people?" And she's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Those are public baths. Like they're not like you don't have a private room or anything. Like you go in there, you're gonna see other people." And she's like, "Oh."
Mom, are you ready to see people hanging dong? That's the question.
Well, okay, no. Okay, so it's obviously women in their own, men in their own. Like it's not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, from what I heard, there are very few public baths that are co-ed, essentially. But 99% of them are like women over here, men over here. So.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
Promotes healthy balance,
Yeah, exactly. So, but Lemon, I do want to ask you real quick. After Astro Bot, what are you going to be playing? What's your next game you're gonna be playing?
Great question. I'm thinking I'll go probably play the DLC for Persona 3. Just came out. Episode, I guess. Yeah, that sounds right. Probably gonna play that. I have to bide my time though, because I don't really want to put some giant long RPG, because I know Zelda's coming out here in a couple weeks. I really want to play that.
It looks
I'm really not one to stop playing games to play another game. I almost did that with Astro Bot, but I decided to finish Castlevania.
Oh yeah, Castlevania. I gotta play that.
Probably.
I gotta play Castlevania.
You should. It's so good. It's a very good.
I know. I'm just trying to find the time right now because I'm trying to do that Visions of Mana thing. It's mostly. I'm probably just gonna do a stream like Bobby recommended. But I need to at least play a little bit just to see some of the opening stuff, so I actually get some opinions on it.
You got it?
We got.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool. Tell me how it is.
Yeah. So I mean, again, you played the demo. So if you played the demo so far, like, it's exactly what you expect. It's all the good and the bad of the old like kind of PS2 era type of games like that. So
my only issue with the demo was that it dropped me in the middle of, or somewhere in the middle of the game. I didn't know at all what I was doing.
What the heck is going on? Trust me.
Combos,
I've played through the
I understood
intro.
The character.
Yeah.
So
I've played through the intro, and I think unless you really know, like, I haven't played a mana game in a long time, so I don't remember like what the general gist is. Because like so far, like in the first 5-10 minutes, they're talking about like this person that has to be sacrificed or something to this particular thing, and I'm just like, hey, was this in the previous games? I don't remember if this was a thing or not.
My understanding that they're generally standalone games.
Right.
But I really never played a mana game.
But some of the stuff will connect and everything. So I don't know. Again, I'll let you know, and we'll see how it goes. Bobby, how about you? What are you gonna be playing right before? I know Zelda, obviously, but Zelda's near the end of the month. So what are you gonna be playing between now and Zelda coming out?
I'm gonna try and get the seasonal stuff done in Destiny before Plucky Squire comes out because I've been waiting for that for like 3 years.
That comes out next Thursday, Friday?
Yeah, Thursday.
Okay, very nice. Yeah,
I'm gonna have to wait till Friday because I am working Thursday all day, like 9 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Yeah, makes sense. So,
but after that, I'm probably gonna hop right into it if I don't pass out immediately.
Yep. No, this upcoming week I'll be doing the Visions of Mana stuff, and then also preparing for TGS because all their like maps and where people are going to be and everything like that are finally getting released. So I got to start plotting out my course to like what section to go to and everything. Even got a couple of chances here for some interviews, which is awesome. So I can't wait to do that.
Nice.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. So, Bobby, we are gonna get you out here one of these years, and we're gonna go to TGS. We're gonna have an awesome time. It's gonna be fun.
I will probably never get on a plane to Japan, Tallen. I'm gonna be real with you.
Why?
That's a big ocean there, buddy. And
dude, I have flown. God, how many times have I flown that across the ocean? I've been completely fine. Heck, Lemon did it. Lemon made the trip.
Lemon, well, I would expect that from Lemon. He had to do it for the troll, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, just for the troll. Just for the troll.
Just to spite people. Like, if I can do it, why can't you, bitch?
He's dedicated to the bit, you know.
All right. Well, okay. So first thing I want to kind of discuss is I want you guys to take a look at this picture up on screen right here. Take a look at this right here. Okay. In fact, if I need to, can I zoom in on this? Look like I can. Maybe. Oh, here we go. Zoom in. Take a look at this. This is actually from one of our comments in a video. This is actually from a comment in our video.
Yo, people need to learn to not do that.
So that caveat still applies. We're not going to give financial advice. However, Rent-A-Center is never your friend. You should never go there. You should probably never even stop in there. You shouldn't even look at it. It might give you bad vibes or something. Holy shit. I'm not surprised, but that is hashtag terrible.
Not financial advice or anything, but like when I saw this comment, I'm just like, wait, are they serious? Are they absolutely serious?
Yeah, like the thing about Rent-A-Center is they want you to rent the whole center and pay for that.
Yeah,
so
I know. You're not paying for the console. You're paying for the console. You're paying for their lunch. You're paying for their electrical bill and all that stuff. So
man, I can't. Yeah, don't buy anything through Rent-A-Center ever.
Yeah. So if you guys wonder why I even have this comment up to begin with, it's because obviously things like the PlayStation 5 Pro are a big talking point right now, obviously. And Lemon, since you're here, we got to get the trio conversation going for one last time. Because I'm sure by next week, everyone's going to forget about this and move on, essentially. But even people like Jason Schreier, look, I love Jason Schreier's, comments and his articles and everything. This one just kind of feels like a lot of like, yeah, we already knew that kind of thing. I don't know if you guys have read this or anything, but again, he's doing the typical thing, or like everyone is essentially with their titles, shows the, video game graphics race and everything. But he goes down to here using the titles like, diminishing return and everything. The most striking thing about this week's PlayStation 5 Pro reveal wasn't the internal power of the sticker price, it was the games. And again, I think we already knew that there weren't going to be any games really showing off at a technical presentation, I will say. It would have been cool to maybe tease it at the very end, like one particular game or something. Yeah, sure, it could have been. But, again, a lot of people are expecting to get some kind of state of play in sometime in September, right? We're not exactly sure when or anything like that, but a lot of people are still expecting that. But it's interesting if you actually just go through this article and everything, I feel like it's kind of just stating the obvious that we kind of already knew this stuff. A lot of it is going like into here. So like in the past, each console generation brought forward massive leaps where I thought the whole point of the pros were kind of a mid-generational, refresh, not really a generational leap. But he does point out one thing that I do absolutely 100% agree. And I think it's that we have reached kind of the graphical fidelity I think that we can expect with games going forward, right? So instead of going from like the PS1 to the PS2, PS3 to PS4, and it's at some varying degrees. There have always been like, oh, holy crap, that is next gen. I got to move up to that, right? Whereas now that's not really the case. We're going for more, realistic effects in certain games, or we're going for more particle effects, or, an Astro Bot, going for more physics and having things on screen that you can bump and interact with and everything like that, which obviously take just as much graphical and CPU power and everything. But I think in terms of like, if anyone's expecting going from like the PS5 to the PS6 or Xbox Series X to whatever Xbox calls their next console, don't expect that to be some huge graphical leap or anything like that. That's just not the case. It's gonna be very PC centric, I would say, where you have these, what look like smaller increments, unless you have the ability to purchase, going from like a 1080p screen to a 4K screen, or getting a 1080 to a 490, or what, again, obviously those are huge leaps and everything. But regardless, anyone expecting that we're going to be able to start seeing graphical, or still see graphical, improvements to certain things, I just don't think that's really a realistic case anymore. And I would not be surprised, because this has brought up a big talking point, is will we be seeing for like to the next generation of consoles, will we be seeing another $500 console, or is 700 going to be the new standard going forward? And a lot of people are, I think, worried about this for a few reasons. One, because console gaming has always been more of a cheaper way to get into this, hobby that we all love. And you sacrifice the quote unquote like customization and the, the huge graphical upbringings that a PC brings you and everything for hey, I plug and play basically, right? But I think unless you were around ever since the original first consoles ever released back in, the 80s and into the 90s and everything, you're kind of used to reasonable prices, I would say, in terms of for the console and everything. And and if everyone remembers when the PS3 was originally announced, that got major blowback and they had to drop that price really fast and everything, right? Whereas with now, we're in a very different economy and everything like that. So I want to ask you guys, do you think we're going to see the next generation consoles at the same price that we saw with this generation, or do you think it is going to bump up an extra $100 or even potentially $200? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know, maybe.
I don't know, maybe. I'm going to be realistic with everybody. It's going to go up. Like,
what has to?
People are complaining. I remember when like the iPhone 4 cost, like $500, and people were like, "Oh my god, why is it so expensive?" And that was like for the base model. Now, if you look at the base model of an iPhone, it's like $800.
I thought the base price of an iPhone was like almost $1,000 at this point, wasn't it?
No, that's for like the pros. And stuff.
The Pro. Okay.
I think the base ones are 800.
Okay. Yeah, but they're about $800. Like, you look at the Samsungs, the same thing. The Galaxy. If you get the Galaxy Note, especially, that's going to be like $1,500, right?
Yeah, the fold.
Yeah, and with technology, it's just as simple as we used to have it where it would get smaller and cheaper, and it's just not doing that anymore because of. I mean, part of it is because of resources, but part of it is because the companies know they can get away with charging X amount, and people will buy it. But yeah, like you got to think too. People are still saying. We talked about this earlier this week, Tallen. People are like, "Oh, just build a PC."
I want to get into that. I brought up this clip. That I found, and I want everyone to watch this real quick. Okay, so everyone, just go ahead and listen up. This is between Digital Foundries and Destin over in IGN, and it's the same thing, saying like, "Should you just simply buy a PC?" Okay, so I want to listen to the whole clip, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so
all right.
At this point, because this is quite expensive.
Yeah.
What do you imagine that would cost?
Probably a fair bit more. I mean, you need to have the GPU that you're going to need. I mean, if you consider a holistic view of all of the different components, the enhanced ray tracing, no AMD GPU has that at the moment. The machine learning block, no AMD GPU has that. It's almost like essentially an NVIDIA style feature set, but made by AMD. And the closest equivalent GPU you'll be looking at would be the RTX 4070. The 4060 is quite close to base PlayStation 5, factoring out machine learning and facing. So you're looking at a 4070. I looked on, I think it was Amazon yesterday, Amazon.com, and the cheapest one of those is $540. So beyond that, you've got to get a CPU, a motherboard, memory, power supply, case, 2 terabyte SSD. So it is going to wrap, the costs are going to ramp up, right? Then you have your mitigating factors, which is that you aren't paying however many dollars per year for the glorious honor of being able to play online and have cloud saves. So you've got to kind of, maybe sort of amortize costs over the year to get a proper idea of what the actual comparison is. I do think maybe, though, we might be slightly missing the point, because if you consider what the PS5 Pro is, it's a machine that's designed, I don't think it's for new owners, right? It's for people that have got a PlayStation 5, but they've got the disposable income to have a better PlayStation 5. And I think that these guys are going to have an existing library of PS4 and PS5 titles. And to make the jump out of the PlayStation ecosystem and into the PC ecosystem, then you've got to leave those titles behind. Your entire library that you might have amassed over like 10 years, you've got to leave that behind. You've got to start from scratch, which I think is probably going to be a step too far.
Yeah, I honestly agree with all of that. We talked about this. Bobby and I talked about this, Lemon. I'm not sure if you saw the discussion video that we posted up on the channel already, but Bobby and I, and along with Lethal on the channel, we discussed the whole part about everyone saying just go into the PC realm and everything, where realistically, if you want to get a particular power level of a gaming PC, prices are not what they used to be, unless you really know how to work that secondhand market, which obviously a lot of people don't. 2, you have all the side peripherals. You got to get a good monitor to be able to see those frames if you actually want to be able to play at those levels. You obviously got to have a mouse. You got to have a keyboard. You got to have a desk. I mean, especially if, maybe you don't have a desk or anything like that. So there's a lot of things that I think when people say like, oh, just build a PC at this particular price. And it's like, there's some parts in here that could definitely either be improved, obviously, but like at the same time, you're looking at those parts going like, that's actually lower than what the current gen consoles are doing and everything like that. Unless, of course, that's what you're trying to go for, which is perfectly fine. If you're simply trying to enter into the PC game, realm, essentially, if you want to call it that, then yeah, you can easily go cheaper than the PS5 Pro. That's doable. But if you're trying to hit the same level, I think that either the current gen consoles or the PS5 Pro or anything like that are trying to hit, especially again with either 4K or 1440p at 60 FPS, you need a decent system, essentially, right? You can't go into the used market, buy a 1060 and expect to hit 1440p high graphics on all the latest games and everything. You just can't. That's not doable. So I'm glad that they have someone, though, from Digital Foundry kind of saying, like, look, if you like the again, he explains exactly what the PS5 Pro is for. It's not for new people coming into this space. It's for people who want the best experience that are in the PlayStation ecosystem. That's clearly who it's for, right? It's just like with the iPhone, normal version and then going into the Pro version, right? You don't need the Pro. But if you're somebody who is just indulged in the Apple ecosystem, you like all those fancy features and everything, then yeah, that's for you essentially. But again, saying that, you can just leave it behind and everything, that, he even brings up a point of your library, right? That's why the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, heck, even Phil Spencer said this, that they lost the console war, as stupid as the console war is and everything like that, because that's where everyone's digital library is, right? That's the reason I'm going to be getting a PS6 in the future, right? Yes, I know my PC can beat out the PlayStation 5 right now, and I can play it at higher frames and all that stuff and do all those settings and everything, but I bought so many games back on the PS4, and as long as Sony doesn't, use my language, dick us over or anything like that, and I can still play those games going into the PS6 and everything and into the PS7, I'm going to stay within that ecosystem because I'm going to want to go back and be able to play those games and everything like that, which again, kind of also unfortunately goes into the whole digital realm and physical games and everything like that, but we can get into that later. But Lemon, I want to get your personal thoughts and everything when it comes to the whole like PC side of things, like should you just jump into the PC side or anything like that? Do you agree with this little clip here, or do you, what are your personal thoughts on it when you saw all that stuff? I'm assuming on social media.
Well, So I guess my question is, if you consider, I mean, let's take the stupid name Pro, a pro gamer, unless you're a Sony pony, is already on PC. So the whole nomenclature of a beefed up PS5 being a pro thing, it doesn't make sense, right? I mean, as someone with disposable income, not to toot my own horn, I mean, I can buy one of these if I wanted to. I don't feel compelled to because I feel like I was told I'm going to get 8K when I bought my PS5. Getting 8K, it's set on the box, 8K.
Okay, don't be an idiot. We all know that you never hit those.
No, wait. They took it off the box though, and so it's like, all right, cool. So they bullshitted us when that came out. Awesome. And so, like, so far, I mean, sure, the PS5 has been solid enough, but I mean, until we, get this console out in our hands, I don't trust them to not kind of pull the same thing again. Probably back to 30 frames a second, maybe a bit more ray tracing. I'm not sold on this as a product. So the whole notion, to go back to your original question, though, I mean, I think it's apples and oranges to really compare console to PC, and that's always been the case. I mean, a PC, you pay a lot more money for it for sure, but it does a hell of a lot more. Right. Notice how you are on a PC now to stream this. You're not on a PlayStation streaming.
Right, exactly. Right? The PlayStation is for game. It's a console. It's for gaming. That's what it's for.
So as a cost proposition, just to say it's a stripped down version of a PC, it does a specific thing. It does well. I would say, I think everyone can agree, at least a PS5 can run games well, better than a potato. I think it's not $700 for a console. It's pretty comparable to a 4070. I'm guessing probably a mid-tier AMD, because it's my understanding that they're not upgrading the chip. It's just going to be
so in terms of the tech side of everything, from what we know, the CPU is staying exactly the same. The GPU is what's been buffed, along with their upscaling technology, which a lot of people are expecting it to be better than FSR2. Somewhere in there, a lot of people are expecting, again, we don't know until we actually get our hands on the thing and everything like that. So Bobby, you'll need to do extensive testing for us, because we all know you're someone to do that. We're gonna, a lot of people are expecting it to be either at the same level as FSR3, or potentially even not being as good as NVIDIA or anything like that, but kind of that same feature thing where it's pretty good to use and everything. So that's a feature. So that's I think why he's saying something like a 4070 in that range, because you do have access to the NVIDIA DLSS and everything like that, whereas a lower tier card is not going to have access to that, obviously. So while the base power GPU for both the X and the PS5 is, I believe was it the 6,000 AMD GPUs? So correct me on that.
Like the 5600,
right? So
or 65 at one of those two.
Right,
so it's like two gens behind then.
Right, it's only two gens behind, and then with the Pro then coming in, it's adding in again that upscaling feature, which are not available on those, or not to the same extent, I should say. Again, obvious testing will have to be done and everything when it comes to all that stuff. But yeah, so that's kind of like where the quote unquote actual technical, changes are and everything. So
and let's not mince words here. It's upscaling is a cheat. Like, it can't render natively at 4K. So both NVIDIA and AMD have brought technologies to cheat the system.
Well, yeah, let's be perfectly
render
honest.
out an actual lower one and then fake it to the actual 4K.
Well, yeah, PS4 Pro, Xbox Series, or Xbox One X, whatever that Pro version was. Yeah, they claimed 4K. No, it was never hitting native 4K. PS5, Xbox Series X, I don't think it ever hits actual native 4K. There's always some form of upscaling. Right?
No, I think Gran
Turismo PC thing. Even as a PC though, like, that's a norm now. DLSS
it is.
And it's just a real bummer that we just kind of thrown in the towel. Just like, we're just gonna cheat it now. We're not gonna
I mean that's kind of the point of the technology existing though, Lemon, like, isn't it?
It is for pushing lower end tech. I don't want to see my 4090 having to use this though as a crutch to get my games to run at 4K.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing, but I mean, if you want ultra max settings with ray tracing, just because ray tracing is stupid expensive.
Ray tracing is its own beast. Like that whole. When I heard that they didn't bump the CPU and they're still pushing ray tracing, it's concerning, because ray tracing in the past has always been very CPU bound.
Yes.
And so my concern overall with the PS5 Pro is going to be games that are CPU bound, like traditionally Battlefield 1 is a very good example that was very CPU heavy, is not going to benefit from the PS5 Pro.
It won't. No,
Full stop.
you're absolutely correct. And a lot of people are already pointing to that. Like one CPU heavy game is Black Myth Wukong most recently, right? That could benefit some for the GPU, but a lot of that is still CPU bound, and that's not going to improve it as much as people think they are, right? And again, there are plenty of other games that are more CPU. Again, you can't really unfortunately tell this on a console, I should say, in terms of like what's being used more, the CPU or the GPU. That's where a PC comes in, right? I can turn a game on and I put up a little chart on my second screen, and it's going to say, oh, my GPU is using X% or whatever, and the CPU uses this, right? In a perfect world, the CPU would only use 20-ish%, give or take, right? And part of that's also just running the iOS and everything, and the GPU should be using a majority of that, because that's the whole point of you doing that. But a lot of games, even 5-6 years ago, I would see some of my games say CPU is using 50-60%, and the GPU is using that exact same, essentially, right? I think my system is for the most part pretty balanced. It's not like I'm running an i3 with a 3080 or anything like that, right? So I know how to balance my systems for the most part. So you are absolutely correct, though. There are going to be a lot of games that they'll be like, oh yeah, no, this is going to increase and all this stuff and everything. It's like, that's really CPU heavy, so probably not. So again, it is going to be a game-to-game comparison. The ones that they're obviously going to want to show off the most are their own first-party in-house stuff, right? That's why most of the trailers that they used during that technical presentation was showing off Ratchet & Clank, Last of Us Part 2, Spider-Man, God of War. Again, right? That's the whole point. They want to show off the best possible improvements that you will see, which is obviously going to be their first-party stuff, right? I will say, though, I do wish they had shown off a few more games that, even though I know they're not technically first party exclusive games or anything like that, I wish they would have shown off more detail, or changes, I should say, for games like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Heck, even Stellar Blade, I think, needs some help in terms of the frames to graphical fidelity and everything like that. So I think that will probably benefit from this. Black Myth is hard to say because it's a very recent game. But I wish they had maybe shown even some more recent games. I get it, the whole no new games, which is obviously disappointing in some regards to not see, but it would have been nice to have not, because they're trying to show off games from 4 or 5 years ago, and it's like, yeah, those games obviously still look really good and everything like that. But if you're expecting to see The Last of Us Part 2 running at 120 FPS at 8K, really, that was never gonna happen. So
I am.
Bobby's living in his own world, guys. He's living in his own world. So again, the way, when it comes down to all of this, when it comes to the PS5 Pro, though, you have to evaluate it for yourself. Do you think it's worth it? Do you think it's, do you even need it? Right? If you're someone with a PlayStation 5 right now, whether you got that within the last year or you got it within the first year, if you got lucky enough with that and you didn't pay $2,000 for it, it probably is not worth it to you, again, unless you are somebody who has that disposable income and you like having the best quote unquote console and everything, even if it is minuscule changes. And I will say this, and I know, Bobby, you and I said this in our video and everything already, where anyone trying to compare the current PS5 to what limited stuff we've seen with the Pro and everything, obviously, if you're trying to compare that on a phone screen on Twitter, you're not going to see any differences, guys. You just aren't, right? Especially because most social media, even YouTube and everything, their default settings are going to be 30 FPS, 720p half the time. Especially if you're not on home Wi-Fi and if you're in your car and you're on the train or something like that, right? So yeah, obviously, no duh, you're not going to be able to see any differences, which I kind of just laugh at. So, and to some extent, even YouTube's compression can be somewhat garbage sometimes. So,
sometimes,
okay,
and somewhat
99.99999% of the time, it is garbage. Okay,
thank you.
So again, it's gonna be one of those things where the only way you can really tell the difference sometimes is going to be in person, whether it's at a friend's house or something like that, or heck, even like a Best Buy store or something, right? If they have a little demo console to use and everything like that, right? Now, I will say within that technical demo, like when they showed off the difference between fidelity on PS5 and the PS5 Pro modes, I could tell the difference in terms of the frame rate, I should say. But again, I'm someone who 60 FPS over 30, no matter what. So you could tell some differences, but anyone trying to make the argument that you can't tell the difference and you're trying to show it on TikTok or Twitter, you're just like, that's not really going to work out, guys. This just isn't. So, but going back to the price stuff and everything, because a lot of people obviously are freaking out over the price, because again, consoles are generally a lot cheaper and everything. The big question also comes out to, why is this, why are they making it so expensive? I mean, heck, there are even articles going out like it's all Xbox's fault and everything because they can't compete and everything, which there's a little bit of truth to that. There is a little bit of truth, just simply because Sony can dictate the prices now. They can dictate those prices. They can be like, oh yeah, I'm going to put it here, and we know some amount of people are going to buy this thing. So, because there's no competition right now. Bobby, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of on Microsoft in the space to provide competition, which they have not done at all this generation. That's not to say they haven't tried. They've been buying up anyone and everyone they can get their hands on, but they just keep fumbling. And you got the CEO going, guys, I don't really know what I'm doing. I kind of make a lot of really bad decisions.
By the way, does this a lot. He goes back and forth quite a bit.
we can't compete, by the way, with Sony or Nintendo. So I don't know why we should even try. It's like, dude, come on, man. Like, you're not helping your brand at all. Don't
worry, man. All the Final Fantasy stuff going to Xbox. It's only been 4 years since everyone's been saying it every year. I'm sure this year it'll come at TGS, and then that will change everything, right?
Yep.
So, but I want to bring up this little video here. Lemon, I sent this to you already. Bobby, you probably know the creator, and while I don't always agree with him on any point, he did bring up an interesting point in terms of the reason that prices are potentially high, or why PlayStation's even trying to attempt this right now, besides the obvious, hey, we're in the lead, we can dictate our prices, whatever the case is. But it's only 2 minutes out of this entire clip, and I know the video's 56 minutes, but I only want to look at about 2 minutes of this clip. I want you to listen to it, and I want to get your thoughts and opinions on it based on what he says in terms of Hiroki Totoki coming in, taking over, and trying to really reevaluate all PlayStation. Okay, so I'm going to play the clip here, and then when I stop it, we'll get an idea. So,
like an $800 console, $1,000 console. I think there even is a market for like a $1,500 PlayStation if they were to do that. The point is, though, the performance and the offering has to be commensurate with that price. It has to be in line with it. And I feel that this PS5 Pro doesn't seem to be doing enough to justify even the $700 price tag. If you're going to buy a $1,500 PS5 Ultra, whatever, it better perform like a $1,500 PC at the very least. It better perform very, very, very well. It better be doing everything cranked out the ass. But I feel like this PS5 Pro for $700 is doing basically what the PS5 should have been doing from the start. So it just doesn't feel like it justifies that price point. And to remove little bitty things like the vertical stand and to remove the disk drive, to me just seems like penny pinching, margin enhancing. Yes. It takes us back to discussion that Hiroki Totoki said, the new CFO of Sony. He came in and reevaluated all of PlayStation, and I'm convinced he pretty much picked Jim Ryan out and said, you're gone, because he came in and saw that their margins were at 6%. And there's been many analysts who have talked about this, so don't think that I'm breaking news here. But basically, for every dollar that was being spent, or being taken in, rather, you could say, it depends on how you frame it, but they should have been making about 20%, 20 cents a profit on each dollar of revenue that comes in, right? This is how much they should have been taking. Jim Ryan, the way he ran PlayStation, wasting so much money They were down here. So Hidoki, or is it Hidoki? I don't know, Totoki, that guy. He came in and said, what the hell is this? This is insane. No wonder we're struggling to hit our financial targets. For every dollar we take in, we're barely making anything on it because all of this is just being burned on projects like Concord, on the Last of Us Online project that didn't go anywhere, that got canned. All this money is being wasted. We need to widen that margin. So what does he do? He comes in, and now you're seeing the result of it. He's demanding higher margins. That vertical stand, yeah, it probably cost him 2 cents. But if we can sell it for $5 or $10 a pop,
$30,
even a million people, that gives us a little bitty edge. That's just enough to make a little bitty difference. Oh, the disk drive, we could include it. But if we don't, then some people will buy it. And that will give us a little bit more. Just a little. Doing our own upscaling instead of relying on other companies. Maybe it attracts investors. Maybe it also means that we can license it out to other game developers. Okay, well, we get a little bit more. That's the whole thing with this. Like, it's so transparent what they're trying to do. They're just trying to widen margins however they can because Jim Ryan was a moron and screwed everything up for so many years that now they're trying to dig themselves out of the hole that he.
All right, so I want to get your guys' thoughts and opinions on that right there. Lemon, I know I sent you the video already, so Bobby, I want to get your personal thoughts on that. So do you think that aside from Sony simply being able to, you know, again, dictate the price because there's really no competition or anything, do you think this is also them just trying to get their margins back up and everything? And so how do you do that? You penny pinch, essentially, right? You break things apart that are not technically needed and you sell them separately. And I mean, again, we've seen that already with the disk drive and the stands right now. I mean, at least the disk drives, they're sold out everywhere right now. The moment the PlayStation 5 Pro was announced, they're sold out for the most part. So what are your thoughts on that? Do you agree with them? Do you don't agree with them? Parts of it? Like, I just want to get your thoughts and opinions. I thought it was at least an interesting little section of his video right there.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Luke Stevens, he's a smart guy, but he also is a guy who's always, you know, and this is a thing with a lot of the content creators. I don't know, a lot of the main, let's say like the mainstream content creators, you know, like you see, like, and I'm not saying they're the same because the second name I'm going to drop here is a vile, disgusting creature, but like Luke Stevens or Asmongold, right? All of these big content creators are like, just get a PC, bro. And like, you know, it's always coming down to like, hey, you know, you hear Luke Stevens in every video go like, well, you know, I play tested this on my 4090 and my Ryzen 9, you know, 98 million X system with 256 gigs of RAM. And it was just terrible. It just runs awful. It's a terrible game. And I can't imagine trying to run this on an Xbox or a PlayStation. So that aside, like that's the mainstream narrative for a lot of these big content creators now. Do I think Sony's trying to make money? Yep. Like, if that's the question, yes. Like, are they going to do it? And again, it comes back to they don't have competition right now, so they can kind of do whatever the fuck they want. And I'm not saying it's right, but you know, we really need competition. What I think is going to kind of give them a kick in the ass is Nintendo coming and pricing their, you know, probably the most highly anticipated console on the market right now. And if they, you know, the rumor is that they're going to price that $400 base and then $500 for like the big kid model, you know.
Wait, there's rumors about it there being a big kid model right now?
Yeah, either the thought that there's a base model and it's either storage or it's an OLED?
An OLED version. OLED. Okay, I can see that.
So like an OLED could be 450 or 500, right? While the base model is 400, which means we were both right, by the way, Tallen.
Check the clip out on YouTube if you guys want to know what we're talking about. But because if I remember correctly with some of the rumors, again, this is all rumors and everything, we don't know yet and all that stuff, but from what I've heard, there are rumors saying that the next chip that they're going to be using within, let's just call it the Switch 2 for now, the next chip that they're going to be using is supposed to be integrating parts of NVIDIA's DLSS, if I remember correctly, or their upscaling technology. which means that if Nintendo, even if it's a section of how good the NVIDIA's upscaling is, because let's remember the upscaling from current NVIDIA cards, the 40 series and everything, everyone always touts as like the best of the upscaling area, right? So if Nintendo
100%.
even has a section of that within their new console, then that could bode well for those people who like those higher graphics and everything. But obviously the Switch is still going to have their amazing library of Nintendo IPs and everything like that. So am I reading into that correctly? That if that is the case and they price it at $400, let's just say, for example, then we could easily see Sony start to feel that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And but the thing is will it cause Sony to lower the price? I don't think so, because I mean, this is one of those things that it's hard to really debate. Like Nintendo fans like me, I'm going to buy the Switch too, right? Because I'm a Nintendo fan. I'm going to buy the PlayStation stuff because I want like the best console experience, right? So that's what's going to get me to buy a PlayStation Pro. In terms of those things, they are separate in my mind, right? I have a PC for the best gaming experience. I will have a PlayStation Pro for the best console experience, and then I will have a Switch because Nintendo. And right. I feel like there's a lot of people who are enthusiasts about gaming and or tech who think the same way that I do, where they go, well, I have the money, I want the best, experience out of my PlayStation. If Xbox could really promise me the best experience, the games to match, then I'd do that. But right now, even in tons of people said it in the high-end console market, I don't want to say Nintendo's like for kids or whatever, because that's stupid. Nintendo's great. Like every one of my friends loves Nintendo. But at the same time, it is a different market in that it's a handheld. You're really buying Nintendo for the IP before anything else. And Sony, like a PlayStation, I'm buying for the IP, but I also buying because sometimes I want to kick back with a third-party game, And so that lends itself to me being able to do that with 60 frames in more games, which is important to me. And again, if Sony had that competition from Xbox, I think, man, they would do that. But one of the things is I've seen a lot of people say that the Series X is not really that far off the Pro. Now, I don't know if that's true. I'd really have to look into it after both are dropped. But from my understanding, the Series X is 12 teraflops and the PS5 Pro is like 35 or something. So that sounds like a pretty hefty difference to me.
Because like the X and the PS5, the base PS5 and the Series X, like I know the Series X is technically more powerful, but it's like your average person cannot tell the difference at all. Right? The only way is to like look at each like teraflop essentially.
You can't use flops as a unit of measurement. People have been trying forever. It's a flop is a floating point operation. Effectively, how fast can you run through a matrix? But that's not relevant anymore because we have ray tracing, because we have stupid high resolutions. Flops is not useful as a metric anymore. It's like putting a Dodge engine into a Prius. You got to upgrade the tires too, otherwise you're going to be spinning the whole time. So I think using flops is a very terrible thing, as we have seen now, where there's plenty of PS5 games run better than their Xbox Series X equivalent.
Right.
So and a lot more to the story.
Right. And
flops.
So like, but again, the story back in 2020 was that the Xbox Series X technically is more powerful than the base PS5. But the big changes now with the Pro are within the GPU. So I do find it very hard to think that the X is so close to the PS5 Pro and everything. So yeah, okay, yeah, sure. I guess you can run with that if you really want to, but I'm sure once the actual system is out and Digital Foundry and all those guys are actually literally taking it apart and looking at everything, you're probably going to find that in terms of like the GPU, at least, again, the CPUs are not changing or anything, that the PS5 Pro GPU is more powerful, obviously, than the X. That just logically makes sense, I would say.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'm breaking anyone's mind here by saying expensive, newer technology in terms of the GPU is more powerful than a 5-year-old GPU on another console. I mean, again, so if you're saying that the X's GPU is technically really close to the Pro GPU, then what you're saying is that the base PS5's GPU is the same thing. It just doesn't make sense.
Well,
So,
I think they're both the same platform, Series X and PS5. I think the Series X just might be a bit overclocked.
it is. I have to go back and look at articles and all that and videos of that stuff back in 2020, but like it's pretty much the same. Like it's pretty much the same. And like some people have pointed out online in terms of developers and everything, they haven't really been able to utilize the X to its full potential because it has to also do the S stuff. So, and obviously previous gen for certain games and all that stuff. So it may be the quote unquote most powerful console currently right now until the Pro comes out, but no one's been able to take advantage of it.
So not to the same extent, but couldn't the same argument be made now for the PS5 Pro and the PS5? Because you have to support the PS5 now. Maybe they can't eke out as much power out of the PS5 Pro because you still have to support the old one.
It depends because again, you're not with no CPU change. Maybe the GPU maybe that upgraded GPU allows them to do certain things a little bit better, but not necessarily have to change their entire philosophy in terms of where they start when they make a game and everything like that. Because again, it's individual. Aside from your first party stuff, it's going to be individually based for third party games, right? So someone might say, yeah, I want to use make a PS5 Pro addition to it or something like that to bump up some frames or bump up some fidelity stuff. Others are going to be like, no, I'm just going to make it for the base X/PS5 and call it good, essentially. So it does come down into, at least from what I understand, it is based on however, whoever's making the game. Sony obviously will make their first party game or first party developers have that feature in there. So
I wonder if it's just like a frame rate cap. You know what I mean?
It could be. Because I was watching something with again going back to Black with Wukong because it's from Digital Foundry, and they were discussing how the Pro could improve the performance on from the PS5 to the PS5 Pro in terms of Black Myth Wukong. Because right now, if you don't know, Black Myth Wukong, it doesn't run that great. It really doesn't. So and they were talking about how because there's a performance mode, a quality mode, and then there's like a middle mode essentially. I think it's like a balance mode or something like that, where it's supposed to be, obviously it's literally what it says. It's in the middle of that, right? It's supposed to hit like 40 frames or something like that.
Yeah, the 45 frame.
Right. But they talked about, they compared it to how the developers of Star Wars Outlaws and the Avatar game that came out last year, how what they did with their balance mode had to do with like a 120 hertz bowl essentially. So it's kind of like it's at least the way I interpreted it. It's like having the uncapped frame rate, but it only obviously hits a certain frame rate. So again, 40, 45-ish or so. But by doing that apparently, and then with whatever the Pro, again, this is all speculation, but whatever the Pro is supposed to be doing, should be able to help bump that up, I guess. I'm not sure exactly how. Again, they're the technical experts. I know maybe a quarter of what they're talking about. So we could see something like that potentially, is all I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, we got to think too, getting to this point, and I think this is one of the things that, we have to understand is consoles really now, everyone's like, well, they're supposed to be the cheap entry point. It's like, they're PCs now. Let's be real. Like, they're going to go in and they're going to turn on features, right? Like the ray tracing. They talk about how they can get the ray tracing like 3 times faster or whatever, right? They're going to just like turn that off for the base PS5, Like,
I'm fine with that.
You gotta, yeah, and I'm okay with that. Like, I play games with like the baked-in lighting and it looks great. Like, I have no qualms with that at all. But yeah, it's like, it is interesting. That does just pose a very interesting question, Lemon. How are they going to deal with the Pro and base PS5 power disparity? Because it's the same thing people have been saying about the Series S. Now, to be fair, like, a lot of the Series S problem is just that memory, that lack of memory. But Man, like if they had just used a weaker GPU and not cheaped out on the memory, I feel like history would be different.
Which is weird because memory is so cheap too. That's probably
I
the cheapest
know,
component.
that's the weirdest thing about it. Like, why? But you know.
Well, then it also comes down to again, people are, in terms of like people saying that the consoles are supposed to be the cheap entrance essentially into gaming and everything like that. When in reality, unfortunately, is that technology is not going down in price like it used to back in the day.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And this is like, and I tried to find some articles or try to see, look at some like some analytic charts and everything when it came to like whether it's silicon or other chip, prices and everything. Like that stuff obviously went super high in price due to 2020, 2021. That was normal stuff. Then it started to come down a bit, but now it's actually starting to go back up in some areas. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, for example, with the Pro and everything, they're charging Sony more to, use more of this essentially. And so Sony's going to raise the price on that. Again, obviously the other parts is their business. They want to make more money, yada, yada. I get that. But just in reality, technology is not going down in price like it usually does. The Switch is still $300 and that thing's been out for over 7 years, right?
No, that's simply because Nintendo knows they can get away with that.
Right.
Shit.
The market supports it.
Right, right. And so again, a good chunk of that is that, they know they can get away with it. Why else do you think Nintendo can still sell a 10-year-old Mario Kart game for full price still? Because they can, because people are going to buy it still. It's still the top of the charts.
Why shouldn't they? That's just good business.
Right,
Like, I'm not going to fault someone for doing that.
Right, exactly. No, and I don't. But at the same time, though, I'm just simply saying that technology overall, like if this had been like 10 years ago or so, we would have at least seen a $50 price decrease, right? Somewhere.
I think you're conflating two different things, though. The current market and the way commodities are, how big video games are affected at this point, and technology.
Right. Well,
there's two different issues there.
Well, okay.
Right? Technology slowed down. Moore's law is dead.
Yeah, that's true.
Like it's just getting more expensive to make improvements, right?
Yep.
But the market also, because video games are such a big thing now, why? I mean, they don't need to go down. We've seen they don't need to lower the price. Things are still selling like hotcakes.
Yep.
The PS5 is not selling as well as they would like it to. And it's a very bold move on them to raise the price in some places, because I don't think that's going to really increase sales. It generally doesn't.
Sales were definitely down here in Japan with the PS5. They were definitely down.
Well, so in my mind, that just means Sony's taking the Porsche or Lamborghini route. They raise the prices knowing they're not going to sell as many, so they make more money, going back to the profit margins on individual units. They're not. They're moving away from the Toyota model, which is throw as many out as you can, and going to the luxury model.
And again, that comes down to, they used to have someone who would make the Porsche and force them to keep those prices down, and now they really don't. And that's just it sucks for all of us because we're seeing those price increases. But remember, if you're out there, if you're angry, like I feel like a lot of people are telling on themselves that they're just angry they can't afford it, and I get that. I totally understand that. Like, if you can't afford it, you really want it, but you can't afford it because it's $700. That sucks. But like, I firmly believe that if you have a base PS5, you're still going to get a solid experience. I went through the whole PS4 generation without ever upgrading. I had my same PS4 that I had from when I bought it,
Same.
and it was like 3 months into the console.
Yeah,
So, I got a Pro.
I got a Pro.
Well, look at Mr. Moneybags over here.
Hey, he's Mr. 4090.
No, you want to know why I bought a PS4 Pro? This is the stupidest reason. Because it had a better Wi-Fi spec on it.
Yeah. That's why I'm buying a PS5 Pro. I want that Wi-Fi 7, dude.
I don't
Gabrielle, thank you so much for the follow. Much appreciated.
I don't
sorry,
know
thank you for the sub. Thank you so much. But no, I mean, again, the other thing to also look at is that's just going back to like, I think to kind of wrap this up as well, like Bobby said, where, it is expensive for a lot of people. And a lot of that, obviously, I know we said some of that is down to global economics and inflation is yada, yada, but it's also just simply the buying power that, I think the average consumer just doesn't have. I'll use dollars just because that's the easiest. That's what I know the easiest, but the dollar or the British pound or the euro or the yen or whatever, it doesn't go as far as it used to, right? It hasn't caught up. Like the spending power that we have as consumers has not gone up to reach those same levels yet, right? Maybe in 2 to 3 years, and maybe sipping some copium there, it will, things will start to improve for us, and then that $700 price point doesn't seem as bad anymore. Again, probably not happening that fast, but just as an example, because I do actually, this will be the last clip I play for this before we move on to other topics. But this, if you guys ever know Colin Moriarty, he used to work for IGN way back in the day, has his own podcast stuff now and all that kind of stuff. But he brings up an interesting point here. So I want you guys to listen to this. If I can get the volume up.
Economy, they need to sell the most units here. They need to do the most. People ask, why is the console cheapest in the United States? And it's because it's quite simply the most fluid economy. They need to sell the most units here. They need to do the most business here. But they're going to try to make their money elsewhere too. And unfortunately, these adjustments between currencies are really smashing things. So from a British point of view, European, Australian, etc., I understand the sticker shock is much more extreme. And I think the sticker shock for everyone is extreme because we're just not used to seeing things this costly. But it's what I said earlier, too, that I think is really important, is that you have to really determine this based on where you are in your life, your own individual life. And it reminds me of when PlayStation 3 Slim came out. As I've told the story in the past, I had access to PS3 when I worked at IGN the entire time. I used to bring one of them home with me, and I kept one of them at home with me, the fat PS3s, but I never bought my own. I refused to buy one until it was $300. I didn't have a lot of money. And to me, I kept saying, I'm like, the value of the PS3 to me is $300. When the PS3 Slim came out in 2009, went to EB, bought one, and got it for $300. That's where I was in my life. That's what I was willing to spend on it. That's what it was. I simply wouldn't have bought a PS3 for any more money than that. You might be in a similar situation in your own life. In fact, many of you are. Money's limited. You live paycheck to paycheck. You have families and other obligations, and you simply can't afford these things. You have to determine where you are in your life. Just like when someone has a great year or a great career or a great job for years and goes and buys a Beamer or something like that, while the other person drives a Ford. There's nothing wrong with that. It's that some person is at a different place in their life, buying a different set of a different luxury for a different set of expectations. I just think it's important to determine that these things will change for individuals over time. And as I said, even for PS4 Pro, from a use case, it changed for me over time. But I do understand that the economic reality for a lot of people is not reflected in increasing wages. And that's an economic problem, dude. That's not a games industry problem. I think in games, we've been used to for a long time, frankly, not paying a lot for things. And I've said that over and over again. People don't like to hear it, but it's just true. The game, especially adjusted for inflation, but even in real money, dude, people were paying $200 for an Atari 2600 in 1982. And then they were paying $300 for a PS2 in 2000. It doesn't even make any sense. Things have always been kind of skewed in one direction. And I think we haven't had inflation this bad in the entire history of console gaming. Maybe in the very, very earliest days in the Carter era, right? When you had television and all that kind of stuff too. But we've not experienced the necessity in some sense of these corporations, publicly traded and beholden to boards and shareholders, unfortunately, in some sense, to have to say, yeah, we need to extract more value out of these things than we ever have, because not only is the cost of just doing business increasing, but look at the economic reality and how difficult it is for us to make a serious amount of money on anything anymore. So I understand it from all perspectives, but ultimately the consumer is going to have to make the decision that's best for him or her. The one thing I wrote in my notes that I wanted to say is that, and what I've noticed is that people getting mad at other people for buying or being interested in the PS5 Pro. First, kind of wish casting that no one wants it at that price, which is obviously absurd. It's going to sell plenty of units, and the disk drive stuff is clear.
All right, so the rest of that is mostly just, again, people, typical online people, this side saying, oh, you're idiots for buying this, and this side saying that, again, typical online feud. But I think the beginning of that clip, though, is just kind of the big wrap up I want to use to kind of bring this all together, is that we've said this for other videos. We said this for about games, about, full price sales, the whole 9 yards. you have to look at your own individual case, and if this makes sense for you, get it. If it doesn't make sense, then don't get it. It's unfortunately that simple, right? I've kind of compared this to PC tech and everything like that, right? If when multiple types of GPUs come out or CPUs or whatever, right, you go for what you can buy, right? I can never go for a 4090 or a 3090 or anything like that when those come out. I always go for like a 70 or a 60 sometimes, or even an 80 if I'm able to save enough, right? But again, everyone's at different spots and everything. Why else do you think something like the 3060 is considered the most popular GPU on Steam right now, right? So the PS5 Pro is just kind of that same thing now. You have a choice between the normal base PS5, PS5 Pro, or if those are both too expensive or you don't want to support that, you've got the Switch, right? Or you've got, as much crap as we give Xbox, you have something like the Series S, which is a great stepping point into gaming. Unfortunately, Game Pass now is not the greatest anymore, but it is still a great stepping stone into gaming and consoles and everything. Or heck, even with NVIDIA's cloud gaming now, like they have some of the best things now where you can literally play any game or the top games that are within their system, I guess. And it's all over cloud as long as you've got the internet for it. So, that's another option for you. So there's a lot of choice out there. But again, I think it's simply just the sticker shock is real, just like Colin said. I think within a week or two, things are gonna calm down, and like anything online, you move on from it. Like, so would you guys agree with that final statement, I guess?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, really, the other thing too is like with and this is going to be very provocative, but I'm going to say that gamers are a very entitled bunch, in my opinion. And I'm not trying to call anybody like a bad person or anything, but it's like Colin said there, you expect every console to be like $200, $300. And that's done for a reason. It's done to subsidize the console, or the ecosystem. Excuse me. It's done to subsidize they subsidize it to get you into the ecosystem. Now, with so many people in the ecosystem for Sony, and they go, hey, you can come here, or you can go to that other guy that like takes away the Game Pass promise that they made, and all this stuff. They could easily pull that right now because they know they've got that, that pull in the market. Yeah. And if you are someone like Tallen said, who just you want gaming, like get a Series S. Like at the end of the day, if you're okay with just having an entry point way into the gaming landscape, the gaming landscape of today, right? You want to play the latest games, but you can't afford a PS5, you can't afford a Series X, can't afford a PS5 Pro, can't afford a $1,400, $1,500 PC. Like the Series S exists, it'll work. It's not what I would do if I could help it, but it is something that is working for a lot of people. I know a ton of people who have a Series S, and they go, "Yeah, it's cool. It works."
Yep. It works. You plug it in, you play. That's all you do.
And that's even, me and Chin have talked about this before. Like, we would be happy to just recommend a Series S to like a casual. If someone said, "Oh, I kind of like want to get a new game system. I used to have like a PS3 back in the day. What's a good one?" I'd probably be like, Series S. Because it makes sense from a monetary perspective for those people. So
I agree with that. Alrighty, I'm gonna get some water real quick before we continue on other stuff. So hang on.
Cool. Ditto.
Actually, yes.
Great idea.
Hell yeah! America!
Whew. Did everyone go get water themselves, I'm assuming? But if you guys are just joining us live right now, whether you're over on Twitch or you're on YouTube here, thank you so much for everyone stopping by. If you guys have any comments or personal opinions you want to point out right now in terms of that topic we just talked about with the PlayStation 5 Pro or just anything gaming related, let us know. Or just simply, how you doing? How are things going? Halo, are you in here right now? Are you in one of the live streams? Post a comment real quick if you are. I can answer your questions that you asked me on Discord if you want. Otherwise, I'll type the answers out once I wrap up. So I saw your message this morning. So if you happen to be in here, leave a comment real quick. I will say, I'm interested to see what Sony's going to show off at their Tokyo Game Show, because they haven't been there in like 5+ years, and they're actually there this year. So it's gonna be interesting to see what they show off. I will say that.
I actually figured they would reveal the Pro there, and then they didn't.
They didn't, yeah. But if they do happen to have a booth to go try it out, I'm definitely gonna go try it out. Hopefully on Thursday or Friday. I will definitely go try it out. See if you can tell the difference in everything. And I'm sure if you can, if you can, and then I see the difference and I say, oh, you can actually tell the difference, everyone's just gonna call me a shill.
You already are, so we don't have to wait for that. But no, you have to have a really good TV, I imagine, to really be able to tell the difference between.
Oh yeah.
Like we're talking like mid to top tier OLED kind of. So if you're just using like a TCL TV or something, you probably are gonna have a hard time at this point.
I have an OLED.
I don't.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
I do.
I know you have a bigger TV than I do.
Yeah, my parents just got a OLED. It's really nice.
And now you want to get a new one. Lemon, I've been telling you this for over a year now. I'm like, just go buy it already.
Yeah, I will say, Lemon, an OLED is absolutely worth it.
Oh yeah, no, I love OLEDs. I'm trying. I've had them on my phone forever. And then
If
Apple
your
put it
house
on
is-
my phones.
If your house is bright, though, you might want to consider the QLED.
No.
Throwing
I
that
mean, my house has been accused of being a cave just because the way it's built. There's like all the light that should be coming through is on the side of the house with no windows. So
Well, you also are a programmer, so that just kind of goes with the territory.
yeah, no, you really programming in a cave is ideal conditions. But no, I feel like I have to get a bigger house to get a bigger TV at this point. I'm not going to get a TV the same
How big?
size.
Wait,
85-inch OLED.
I thought you had a 75 right now.
65.
65. Okay.
Yeah,
Get a
65?
Get a
I have to go
65
bigger.
OLED. You can find a 65 OLED then.
No, I'm not gonna get the same size. And I have to get my parents just got a new OLED, a 75-inch, and so I have to get bigger than that because I can't let my parents show me up like that.
Oh my god.
gotta beat them out.
First world problems right here, folks.
I want a house big enough to where like I could have like a 55-inch in the bedroom and in the living room, and it feels okay. I don't need a big ass house personally.
That's so American. So American.
Yeah.
I'd rather have a big TV than a big house. You know.
No, I need a big house and a big TV. Why sell for just one?
There you go.
It's the American way, goddammit.
That's right. I know how to make computers talk.
Think for me, Rock. Think for me. Tell me what I want to know. Do my homework for me, please. I can't do math myself.
That's
so real quickly before we start gaming and everything, or just talking what games are playing and everything. I did want to bring up this little article. Usually I don't go with Windows Central. I don't exactly agree with them most of the time, but I did find this particular interesting right here, where it says Xbox Game Pass standard goes substandard. Games like Starfield, Diablo 4 go retroactively missing from the console's Game Pass mid-tier, which again, we knew already. They literally told us that they would not be having day one games on Game Pass anymore unless you basically get Ultimate or PC Game Pass. But the fact that
I didn't think they were
going to
take this shit. I didn't think they were going to take shit away. I saw that. I was like, God damn, that's fucking cold. That must be a Satya decision, because Phil wouldn't do that shit.
Yeah, not your beloved Phil. You know, he hasn't totally made business decisions to make money or anything. No, he's one of us, guys. He's a gamer.
To be fair, they have not made any money under Phil. So I mean, if we're being honest, Phil seems like a great guy to like have a beer and talk about games with.
Easily.
He's probably the worst CEO I've seen in gaming. Like, I'm talking from a pure business standpoint, and everyone will say Don Matrick. It's like, dude, okay, Don Matrick had a royal fuck up, and then since then, Phil has done everything to make that fuck up worse somehow, which is just wild. How have you not made it better at all in 10 years?
Has it been more than 10 years? I thought Don was out back in 2020 or 2012, 2013.
No, because the one came out in 13, and then he was out after that.
Yeah, he was out like literally like less than 6 months after that or something like that, and then he went over to a mobile gaming position, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, but I think that was early 2014.
Okay,
I think.
Okay, so it's definitely plus 10 years though. It's not coming up or anything.
Yeah, it's 10 years.
Are we talking strictly just like console CEOs? Because I feel like Riccatello, when he was at Unity, and
we're not talking fucking game engine CEOs. Come on, man.
That's what I was thinking. I feel like he kind of torpedoed their heart.
They finally pushed back on all that stuff. They finally rolled all back. So
I mean, that Hasbro CEO who was there in 1982, man. We're talking about games, I guess. You know,
Jesus. Yeah. Now we see. You know what I'm talking about. He's not the worst. Phil's not the worst. There's still more.
Modern,
he can still go further down.
Let's reword it. Modern, then. Let's say 2010 to now in terms of consoles.
Well,
yeah, I would say in just modern gaming history, like from Nintendo to now, like I can't think of someone who has more spectacularly failed. Not only more spectacularly failed, but like come out and be like, yeah, guys, I don't know, I just keep fucking up, I guess.
I feel like Sega during the Saturn might be underrunning though.
Yeah. But you know what's weird? They did the exact same goddamn thing as Xbox. They came out with a subscription service where they gave their shit away for free. They came out with this fucking weird consoles that nobody fucking wanted and were like not really performing on par with other shit. And it's like it's like, how does Xbox look at that and go, you know what? Sega in the 90s, they really had their head in the game. Obviously,
would you say
their continued dominance in the field, you know?
So would you say that history has repeated itself?
Well, everyone likes to pretend that Xbox started from where Sega Dreamcast failed at. So
that is the thing. Like everyone's like, well, it took over for the Dreamcast. That's why we love it. And it's like, I love the Dreamcast. I had a fucking Dreamcast. I got a Dreamcast for my, I think it was my what year was it? 99. That was my 14th birthday. It was 2 weeks after the console had come out. That was the soonest I'd ever gotten a console after it had come out. And I had 2 games. I had NFL 2K and I had Sonic Adventure. And I played the ever loving fuck out of those games. And then I was talking about video games with a guy at school, and he's like, "Hey man, if you give me $50, I will give you every Dreamcast game." And me, being a naive child, I was like, okay. And he came to school with a binder full of CDs. And I gave him $50. Like, I had to talk my parents into it. I was like, hey, this kid said to give me every game for $50. And he did. He has every game. And they were like, well, if you're not going to ask for any more games, I was like, no, I won't. And he gave me every game. And now I contributed to the downfall of the Dreamcast because that was its biggest problem was the piracy of... But yeah, like, you know, the Dreamcast was a pretty big mistake. But like, I don't know, man. With the budgets now, I don't understand how they just give away stuff on Game Pass. Like they're talking about Call of Duty. They're banking on Call of Duty this year, and it's like you're just banking on all the people on Xbox not buying it, and half the PC people not buying it and playing it for like 2 months, and then going, I'm bored with this game.
Well, didn't you say
about
that
when Game Pass started though? Like the timing when it started, that was pretty much the heyday of subscription video, and they thought, holy shit, this is making gangbusters. Allegedly, let's try that for games.
This is why we don't chase trends.
Yep.
Well,
It's true. It's true in almost anything, I would say. If you simply do nothing but chase trends, you're not going to succeed in the long run. You just aren't. You'll see some success in some areas, sure, absolutely, but simply chasing trends is not going to get you where you want to go.
Sure, but the board loves doing that.
I know. Well, dude, why does he think we all say that most people on boards are idiots and everything? Because it's like, how did you not see this happening?
Though. That's the problem.
They are rich idiots. They're rich idiots.
That's all they are.
Trust fund babies.
Yeah, pretty much. That's essentially what they are. So,
talking to you, Riccatello. You motherfucker, you.
So, I mean, I think Bob and I talked about this where the PC Game Pass did not go up in price because Xbox can't really afford to push PC gamers away. You know,
PC gamers don't play anything that is on Steam.
Right, exactly.
Full stop.
But there are people on PC that do use the Game Pass though, because you know, if they want to try something out.
Dozens of us.
Dozens of you. And everything. Well, and it's been known, I believe, since the FTC hearings and everything, that Game Pass numbers, in terms of like the ultimate users and the people who are obviously going to jump into it and everything from day one, that has flatlined essentially for the most part. They're not getting new people to sign up. So,
well, that's the crux of the infinite growth paradigm that the current stock market finds itself in. If for some reason they're like the line has to be up and green, forever. Somehow,
God forbid if it goes down just a little bit to kind of even back out after what 2020 did, and then start to go back up again. No, can't have that happen.
Yeah, it's precarious world we live in with corporations at this point, because
pretty much
can't go up forever. There is a finite amount of resources.
Finite amount of resources, finite amount of time, finite amount of people, just people in general. So,
well, I mean, the way that PlayStation and Microsoft have been getting rid of people this year, you think they're not a finite amount of people. They're like, oh, there's this infinite people, do whatever we want, fire them all, fuck them.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, they're not going to let go of the actual bad management that they have in some areas.
Managers, who fires management when they're the people firing
everyone else,
right? You gotta fire yourself.
You pretty much need the CEO or CFO type level people to come in and do that. So, because I'm pretty sure the only person who could fire Phil would be, head of Microsoft, essentially.
Satya,
yeah. Like I don't think anyone else could do it technically, right?
I mean,
unless the board comes in, I guess.
I don't think the board could. They would have to go through Nadella to do it.
True. Or maybe like they vote to remove them, and then then they get the Microsoft boss will be like, okay, we made the vote, go fire his ass now. Like,
Yeah, we have
whatever.
electoral college. He has to do it, but he
Right.
might not. And then his ass will be grass because Nadella ignored the board kind of thing.
Right, exactly. But
he's smart enough to not ignore the board because
no.
Well, I mean,
it would take him out.
He doesn't want this
it's
shit
not
anymore.
even.
He's ready
It's
to
not
cut.
even Xbox gaming anymore. It is Microsoft gaming through and through right now. It is so. It is so obvious that the Phil doesn't really. He's the face of it, but you've got like this little microphone behind him telling him exactly what to say. Essentially, raising Xbox Game Pass prices, taking away day one, games unless you're paying for Ultimates. Making sure these games are multi-platform and everything like that, like all that stuff. Like he's literally saying, like, we need money. We gave you $100 billion. Time to pay up, essentially. So, again, it's I guess it's common knowledge, I guess I would say, or just common reasoning, I guess would be a better word to use. So, I know we've talked about this multiple times already, but it's just like it was. I don't think it was ever going to work out the way they kept on claiming it would.
Oh,
essentially,
it's money burn. Standard startup procedure. They're running it like a startup, and this is what happens: either you get bought up by someone else, which isn't going to happen, or you burn out of the money you're trying to burn.
Yep.
So
much.
And so now at this point,
lasted.
At this point, like Satya's just going, okay, we want that money back, so let's make it happen.
Yep.
And that's cool, like, cause like Indiana Jones might be good.
Yeah, hopefully that'd be cool.
Hopefully that'd be pretty cool. What Doom's probably gonna be good. I mean, but that was coming anyway.
Yeah.
That'll be me going, oh, look, an Xbox game that I want, and I'm gonna buy it on my PlayStation.
I was about to say the exact same thing. No, but my PlayStation.
Well, it's the same thing with
you guys think Halo?
Starfield,
Do you think Halo will go to PlayStation?
if Master Chief Collection goes to PlayStation, okay. First of all, if Master Chief Collection over Infinite, that's just them absolutely conceding defeat with Infinite. But if they want my money, they would put Master Chief Collection on PlayStation because I would buy that shit in a second.
Just the headline of Halo goes to PlayStation.
Yeah,
I don't know when it would happen. I don't know if it will happen, but if I wake up to that, because any kind of big news like that always drops when I'm asleep already. If I wake up to that, I expect to see like 10,000 messages from Bobby, a bunch of messages from other people just being like, what the F? And like the internet exploding.
I mean, technically, I think he might have already gone to PlayStation through Fortnite, so. Just saying.
Yeah.
Oh.
You already got your headline, Tallen.
The other thing that's really funny is I remember, and this is like Destin has been just on one lately. Like, Destin, you seem like a nice enough guy, but you're coping really hard lately, buddy.
Oh, what do you say this time? Aside from the PC thing.
That's what I was gonna say. Is the PC thing is like, he was talking about like, well, what if it's an open system, and then on the next Xbox, because it has Steam, I can just load, God of War on my Xbox, and like me being a person who keeps up on gaming news versus like one of the editing managers of the world's largest gaming platform. I was like, oh, he must not know that GeForce Now had PlayStation games, and Sony just blocked that shit because they can do that, and they will do that to an Xbox platform.
Oh yeah, it was God of War 2018, wasn't it?
It was one of them. One of their games that went to PC. They were just like, nah, you ain't playing that shit on GeForce Now. I don't give a fuck if you have it on Steam. They just blocked it. And they'll do that. Like if Xbox tries that open platform thing, which power to them, I guess. If you really want to give up like that, like, but if they want to do that and go like we're doing like the 3DO because that was such a great idea in the 90s, and they go, oh, you can sideload Steam and Epic, and we're paying them a cut of every game sold on our system now. It's like, all right, and you're paying other people I guess you're making money from other people selling your Xbox branded console. So maybe it'll even out. But Sony would still just go, oh, it's one of those Xbox consoles. If it has this hardware configuration, no, just like block. Sorry.
Again, it's typical business stuff. They want to make money and they're gonna block it and things.
Yeah,
so.
it's just like Nintendo. You know, like they had the Gary's mod or whatever that was a bunch of Nintendo stuff, and Nintendo finally found out about it after years, and I was like, oh, you're using like Mario and Kirby and shit and random stuff that we don't have control over?
Team of lawyers attack.
Yeah, like the Nintendo ninjas came out of hiding and they got them.
You know, I think I saw one of those guys in Tokyo one time. He's trying to get a burger for lunch or something, and all of a sudden he disappeared because Nintendo called them up.
That's how it goes. We all know Nintendo will find you.
Oh, they will. They always do. They've got that ability to do that and everything. So,
but yeah, like hopefully we can see. I don't know. Like we could see Xbox do something. I'm wondering whether they're like, you know, because my thing is they're like, oh, we're gonna have our biggest technological leap ever, and I'm like, they're gonna do a cloud console, aren't they? That's what I'm thinking. They're gonna do a cloud console.
Yeah, but okay. First off, though, every generation says that, right? Every generation, we have the most powerful console thing. It's typical
if they
marketing.
do cloud, technically they're not wrong. You know, technically they're not wrong if they do it all cloud console.
But then in 2 to 3 years, something else comes out that is more powerful and whatever. You know, all I'm saying is every generation. They didn't say
more powerful. They said largest technological leap.
No. Well, that's different. I hope they're ready to actually make it available because that's going to rely on people having internet. So Xbox/Microsoft's really going to have to fight the internet companies, especially in the States.
That would be great. I would actually back something Microsoft's doing for the first time in 15 years.
That's a good fight, Microsoft.
Yeah, that would be a good fight. But they'd have to make it though, because if they don't, if they just simply say, "Hey, cloud gaming console here now," you know, and then like half of the states are like, "Yeah, I've got either this cap or I've got only this amount of speed."
Really, all they would have to do is just go, hey, like Comcast and AT&T and Frontier, you know how you guys all use Azure? Yeah, we're gonna need that internet fixed. Like that's really all they'd have to do. Like, hey, if you guys want to still have like an affordable plan, you're gonna need to make sure the internet works so our Xbox can work.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, if they actually do that, I'd be like, dude, yes, great for you guys. That'd be amazing.
Exactly.
I don't have to personally worry about that, but I know you guys have to. So
yeah, bullet trains and same day Amazon delivery. Talent must be nice, but you know what? We get PS4 Pros for $700 plus $80 plus $30 here. So
don't worry. A PlayStation Pro here is only our PlayStation 5 Pro is gonna feel like paying $1,200 essentially. That's essentially what essentially what the PS5 Pro is.
At least our currency's in free fall.
Yeah,
at least
seriously.
we can buy giant cars.
Don't remind me, man. Don't remind me. It sucks being on the yen.
Cybertruck's legal to buy here.
Lemon, I know you've seen one of those in person.
Oh yeah, there's one in my town, and it cracked. It just my eyes bleed seeing it when it drives by because it's a hell of a lot bigger than you think. It's a boat anchor, and it looks the part too.
It's horrible. You know what's the weirdest thing, right? Because we know Elon Musk's let's say political leanings as of late. When I went to the SF Bay Area, you know how many of those damn things I saw? I was like, what is happening here? And then I was like, wait. Tech bros. I'm sorry.
Yeah, crypto bros. Yeah.
Yeah, like
they're still for some reason they're still in San Francisco. They didn't get the memo to move to Texas like the rest of them.
They're also still like after FTX like believing in crypto, which is just weird. But
Lemon, I expect when I come home next year, Lemon, I expect us to see it. Like we'll go out for lunch or something, and then we'll have to drive around and find it.
I think they work at the Home Depot, which is crazy to me.
That's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
First of all,
because that is their life savings, 100%.
Oh, 100%. And also how like all the hicks there haven't gone just beat the shit out of that truck, just taking a bat to them. Because it allegedly can survive bullet holes, but it will dent badly. So
it also like when it runs into a post, like gets shit stuck in its engine and then dies. So
yeah, and it can't go to the car wash.
Yep, without oxidizing.
Yep. Well, no, it literally would just like go into limp mode or just flat out just not run anymore. Like,
Ooh.
it is bad.
You know what I can do in my 2017 or 2016 Toyota Corolla? Go through the car wash. Yeah.
There's nothing better than a good, freshly washed car.
That's right. But I live in the desert, so I wash it, and then 6 hours later, it is covered in dirt.
You guys still dying?
No.
You still dying from the heat out there? Or is it finally cooling down? Or are those wildfires still going on?
It's starting to cool down. The fires here were bad. A couple days ago,
Washington.
Oh yeah, when we recorded the last video, Tallen, I sent you and Lethal that picture. That was like the wildfire affecting the sky again.
Right. So, and that's what I'm asking. I'm like, is that gone now? Is that still around?
Yeah, that was only that day. Even by that night, like late that night, it had cleared. So yeah, it's been fine since we've had windows open, which has been nice. It's been getting cool at night finally. Next weekend, I think it's gonna have one last flare up, and then that'll basically be it.
It is finally supposed to drop down into low 70s by next week here. Finally, it actually hit 98 degrees yesterday.
Yeah, that's ours too. Is it's finally going to get into the 70s.
Yeah,
which is
I'm
super
not gonna
nice.
say anything then, because I think our high today was like 60, 65.
I hate you, Lemon.
Yeah, it was 65 was the high, and it was raining all day too.
You suck. Just throwing that out there.
Yep.
Aren't you up in Washington? So like, isn't it raining every day?
No, that's what's funny about Washington is that it's actually not the rainiest part of the country. Everyone thinks it is. It gets the most rain it has the most days with rain, but it doesn't have the most overall rain in terms of accumulation.
Oh yeah, no.
average-
It's always a very light rain.
Everyone takes vitamin D here because it's always
Yeah.
graying. Howdy.
You know what the
Britain.
average rain is here
Probably
per year?
minuscule.
It's 12 days per year. I live in the desert.
Well,
So when it rains there, it's like really unsafe to drive because it's just so slick.
It actually, the first rain, everyone drives like 12 miles an hour.
Just donuts everywhere.
Because I mean, at least when I was still living there, like back in Washington, like rain is normal for the most part, right? So it's not heavy. It's just light. It's just constant.
Light, usually misty.
It's just constant. That's all.
Yeah,
all it is.
and always
Yeah.
gray.
Yeah.
Tons of they practically give vitamin D out in dispensers wherever you go, just because you don't get any sunlight here.
It's like Purell. You just walk up to a little machine, put your hand under it.
Yep. Just UV rays.
Yeah.
Just like 5 seconds. Anything more, you get cancer. 1, 2, 3.
You're like, 4, 5 lymphoma.
We warned you. We told you. 5 seconds.
So what are you guys going to be playing game wise?
In terms of like what for the rest of 2024 or right this moment?
No, I meant this moment. We kind of talked about what we're going to play for. I do want to try Space Marine. Speaking,
I do
of.
too.
I want to try that game.
Like,
I definitely want to try that game.
If down the line, like like October, November, we get through games and you guys want to hop on that.
Oh, I'm
please let me
100%.
know.
Yeah, it's unfortunately one of those things where I'm just like I've got so much to cover right now that I can't pick it up because like for a game like Space Marine, I want to be able to sit down, at minimum with you guys and be able to actually like really delve into it and everything.
Get in it.
Yeah, get in it and everything. So I say October. I think there should be a time in October where we can do that, and we give that a shot because there's not really much coming out in October, aside from the Assassin's Creed game. So
in October, I swear to God, Talon, this is a good game coming out in October. And you slide them like that, I'm very unhappy with you.
I'm
See,
looking right now.
October.
Yep, October.
Dude, Metaphor is out in October.
Oh yeah, Metaphor.
Bruh.
Yeah, Metaphor looks good, man.
Ease 10's out in October.
Wait, when are they releasing though? Early October, late October?
Metaphor is the 11th. And then Ease 10 is 25th. And oh my God, guys, no. Goaty Contender Dragon Age Veilguard is out on the 31st. What?
That's been getting good
I keep
previews right now.
forgetting this game is even coming out. Where is the hype?
Well, it's the thing is people saw it and they were like, it looks like Fortnite. And then the more that comes out, people are kind of like, actually, this looks kind of cool. What's going on? Like, because they don't understand that, like, an art style is a choice, but it's still BioWare and they're not trying to make a live service. So they're going to make a fucking big ass RPG.
The last 3 games. I'm gonna buy this probably day one because
this is one of those things like you got to understand. Like, man, this is why I'm so upset. You know, like Tango. That's sad. It really is because like people like TIE Fighter Rush. I didn't like it, but people liked it, and like that could have been something they could have iterated on. Maybe the next one they find ways to improve and all that. But like Arcane did not deserve that shit, man. They did not deserve to get shut down because of Redfall, because ZeniMax was like, well, we're going to make a live service game. Oh, and at the last minute, we're going to gut the live service aspects and try and turn it into just like a co-op Borderlands type game. And they were like, okay. So we have to redo everything and all the finishing touches we put on the AI and, the world not falling through buildings and shit. We're going to have to push out because we have to completely redo like, a core function of the game.
Well, there's a bunch of previews that's supposed to be coming out, I believe Thursday, this upcoming week or next week.
For
Dragon Age, for the new Dragon Age game.
Oh, okay.
So definitely, because I know IGN just literally had their preview out, and then there are content creators who have made comments saying like I get to talk about this, but I can't talk about it till Thursday. So I guess IGN got to publish their thing first, and then everyone else is doing their thing on Thursday next week or something like that. So, but I mean, like you both said, the more people see it, the more people seem to be excited about it. So, I hope it does well because BioWare, if anyone definitely needs a win, it's definitely BioWare. They haven't really had a win since what? Mass Effect? No, Dragon Age Inquisition,
probably.
Inquisition,
yeah.
That was 2015, right? And it's been.
I think so. Yeah,
PS4 game.
Yeah, because Mass Effect after that didn't do particularly well. Then you had Anthem.
Deserved better, goddamn it.
Yep,
that game deserved better. That is still the one of the most unique gameplay experiences I've ever had, and I'm so sad that they didn't give it time to grow.
Not surprised. It's EA. They would never throw money at something for like a couple years to fix it and make it profitable. They would never do that.
Well, it's like it's weird that they at first they did, and they gave the team like 9 months. The team was starting to really come up with like cool stuff.
I saw some of the pictures online, like some of the concept stuff that they had, and it looked pretty good.
Yeah, but then EA was just like, nah. We had you guys working for 9 months. We're not even going to give you a shot. Fuck off. It's like, dude, come on. That, like, man, like, that's one of those games. The same thing with Avengers. I still stand by that. That was a very unique gameplay experience with each character being, I mean, aside from the doubles, like the Hawkeyes, who were fairly similar, not completely. The Thors were, like, almost exactly the same, which was stupid. But, like, Winter Soldier was cool. Been unique, compared to Captain America. He kind of played like Captain America mixed with Black Widow. Black Panther was awesome. Like the core roster all felt completely unique. Sad times when they shut that down. I was like, really hoping. The raid was actually cool in that game too. It was hard, but
well, hopefully Dragon Age can put BioWare back, because if you think about it, BioWare hasn't really been relevant since, again, 2014, 2015-ish, maybe, give or take.
Yeah.
So a lot of gamers these days they don't know BioWare, right? Or anyone who came in new after 2014, they probably don't know BioWare, right? Like, as the way we used to know them, like, with the Mass Effect trilogy and the original Dragon Age and Dragon Age 2 and all that stuff, right? Like,
that's even older than that, though. I feel like the golden age of BioWare 15 years ago. So I mean, it's not really
Dragon Age Origins, that's a lot of people consider like that to be really
that was a great game. That was a great game.
I worked on that game, Lemon. I know it was a great game.
Oh, it's so good.
So hopefully this is a way for BioWare to kind of get back into it. So we'll have to wait and see, though. But then
that was literally
November,
the golden age of EA.
Right, exactly. But then EA, so And then November has Mario and Luigi Brothership, which I'm sure will sell at least a minimum a million copies.
Oh yeah, easy.
Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D remake. I really hope that does well. I really hope that does well.
That's a day one for me.
That's day one.
That is a day one for me.
It is day one for me. I'm going to be going in, buying my physical copy of it. I'm definitely buying that game.
Yeah.
Shadows, I'll wait for a sale most likely, just because.
If Nintendo starts a rewards program, well, no, they have one. Don't
they kind of have one. They kind of
have
the
gold coin or platinum
gold coin.
Yeah, but it's like to register my games. That thing.
Yeah. I guess they do have one.
They kind of have one. So.
Kinda like easy to forget.
Here we go. Here's Lemon's game of the year. Right here. Rent a Girlfriend, the Horizon and the girl in the swimsuit.
Okay, so like I'm on Game Rant and like what the fuck is he talking about right now? What's it called?
Rent a Girlfriend, the Horizon and the girl in the swimsuit.
Oh, the anime. Okay.
It's a visual novel, so and kind of I find it weird it's not going on to Steam. I thought this kind of thing would go on Steam, but it's only on the Switch and PS4.
So, okay. Because Steam thought it was too spicy? What?
No, because Steam has a lot of those kind of visual novel type games. So I'm like, of all places, wouldn't it appear there? But no, apparently it's only on Nintendo Switch and PS4.
Shit, yeah. Game of the year, baby.
America.
And then I forgot about that Lollipop Chainsaw game coming out. Yeah. Or that just came out, I think, or like because it's a remake technically or a remaster.
Yeah, apparently it's hot garbage.
Oh, is it?
I feel like the original wasn't anything special either.
No, it wasn't. And then the remake, apparently it's like half the shit in it is broken.
Oh.
Like the audio's awful. Half the stuff is either like the textures are terrible, like just basic stuff doesn't work.
It's interesting because it just released on the 12th, so it came out on Windows, Switch, PS5, Xbox Series S and X, and then it comes out on Xbox One and PS4 in November. So that's interesting to say the least. Or I guess technically to be announced, but supposed to come out in November. So if it's having trouble on those consoles, then I don't have much hope.
So it's like a console thing then, because like I said, the Steam reviews are positive, very positive, in fact.
Okay.
So maybe it's a console issue then.
Oh, how is the Star Wars Jedi Survivor? I think isn't that on PS4 and PS or Xbox One now? Like,
oh yeah,
it went back.
I never even heard about it coming out. I forgot. I completely forgot. I know they put out the patch for PC just the other day,
and I like how they're like, oh, we improved frames and performance and everything, and then every comment's just like, yeah, because you took out, what was it, Denuvo or whatever they took out?
Denuvo, yeah.
Yeah, they took it out. So I was like, I wonder why.
Yeah, it's every single time. It's just like, stop using Denuvo. Like, look, all right,
they've got to have some like contract with them or something, or some kind of financial deal with them or something.
Well, they're thinking it's gonna actually stop piracy, and it's not.
No,
like it never does.
They pirate out within like a week. Like
not even. I mean, sometimes it's just like the day of.
Yeah, or even before. I feel like I've heard one be like before the game came out. Like, how the fuck that happened? All right, so here's the official performance targets for each platform directly from EA and Respawn. So 900p 30 FPS on the PS4 and 720p 30 FPS on the Xbox One. And the game ran like ass. Well, the VCR Xbox One ran like ass. That thing was
it was not
similar to the current gen. PS4 and Xbox One, I think, also have very similar setups in terms of chipsets and stuff. But for some reason, the PS4 was binned way better, so I have better clock speed and stuff. But the Xbox One, I totally forgot this, cost more than the PS4 when it came out.
Because they have that camera. They had the camera attached.
Yeah, the Kinect.
Yeah, the Kinect and everything. Yeah,
I forgot all about that until someone mentioned that recently.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, Xbox. I mean, a lot of people say Xbox One was the start of the downfall. I mean, they literally had a lead on PlayStation, and then they come out and say, always online, need the Kinect, can't use used games. And then, I mean, that infamous 8-second clip of Sony. Here's how you play used games on PlayStation.
Yeah, that was
a great.
That was probably one of my favorite clips ever. That was one of my favorite clips ever.
That's one of those things of like, you know, that was like one of the earliest examples of a game company memeing, you know, like, and it really worked out because I mean that's notorious. Like you think of that now, you know, like.
No. Although who was that guy? I think it was back in the PlayStation 3 days. They had that one guy PlayStation who like did all those like
commercials.
Yeah, commercials. And what was his name?
Was it Kevin something? I think PlayStation commercial.
Yeah, like he had some good commercials. Not all of them were good, but he had some good
Kevin
ones.
Butler. It's Kevin Butler. And he got fired because he showed up or something on an Xbox related thing. Let's see what it was. Kevin fired.
Oh God.
What happened to Kevin Butler? Okay, so what happened to Kevin Butler 11 years ago on Reddit? And the top post says, on September 11th, 2012, Sony sued Lambert, which is the actor's name, for trademark infringement due to his appearance in a Bridgestone commercial that featured the Wii as part of its sales promotion.
Damn.
So he was in a Wii commercial working for Sony.
No, it wasn't. No, it literally was a tire commercial, and they happened to have a Wii in it.
Oh, wow.
That sucks.
Damn. Yeah. That's harsh.
I wonder if he even knew. Like,
well, I'll find it because I'm clipping this as a short, but I'll have to find it and see like, was it just in the background? You know,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, was it just like in the background somewhere and he had no idea?
Yeah. I'm not seeing a link to any YouTube videos for it. So I'm sure it might appear on YouTube if you Google it, though.
Do you still have that article up about the Jedi Survivor? Because you said PS4 and Xbox One specs. What can the PS5 and Xbox Series hit now?
Probably 30 in quote unquote 4K.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jedi Survivor PS4.
Because obviously it's been out for a while, but maybe the performance modes improve essentially. Because as great as that game was, the technical hiccups of that game were not great. So hoping it's actually improved. Yeah, there we go.
It doesn't look terrible, but the video they have on there is from a PS4 Pro, and it looks like a Switch game.
I mean, everyone was kind of scratching their head, like, "Wait, you're putting this on last gen when it can barely run on current gen?" Like,
well, I mean, when Grandma wants to go buy a game for little Timmy, and she goes to the store and sees Star Wars, she's like, "Oh, Timmy loves Star Wars," buys it for the old console.
Star Wars Jedi Survivor is still full price on Steam. Battlefront 2 for full price. Yeah, yikes. No.
And Timmy's like, fuck you, Grandma.
I have a Switch.
Well, looks like PlayStation's having their Steam sale right now. Let's see. Helldivers, 20% off. Ghost of Tsushima, 20%. Horizon Forbidden West Collector's Edition, which I think also includes Zero Dawn, 20% off. Zero Dawn completed.
No, that the Forbidden West is like the DLC.
Oh, it's the DLC. Oh, okay. Yeah. Horizon Zero Dawn complete edition is 75% off.
Yeah, it's probably like $12 or something.
Yep. Did Last of Us Part 1 ever get fixed on PC? That thing ran terribly.
Yes, it did. They Naughty Dog stepped in and fixed it.
Okay.
God.
So that's 40% off. God of War is 60% off, which God of War Ragnarok comes out next week. We'll see how well that does. Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection is 50% off right now. Days Gone is 75% off, which, man, that the creator of that still pissed about his game being in Astro Bot.
Oh, did you hear about Days Gone? About how like it wasn't Sony who came in and said no. It was actually internally like, yeah, we're not gonna do a sequel.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that.
Let me see if I can find that.
Probably because they didn't want to deal with that guy anymore.
I mean, with the way he's portraying himself online, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, he's kind of a jackass.
Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales is 40% off right now. Ratchet and Clank is 40%. Ratchet and Clank is a great game for anyone who hasn't played it.
It is also one of the last opportunities. It might be the last opportunity on sale for people to buy Forza 4, which is supposedly the best one in the franchise. Even as much as people love Forza 5, a lot of people still say Forza 4 is like the best in the franchise. So if that's something that interests you, it's
4,
$12 bucks, I believe, on Steam.
It's the equivalent of $14 on Steam right now in yen. It's probably cheaper. It's probably like $9.99 on Steam right now.
Yeah. So that's
because they'll be taking that away probably pretty soon.
Yeah, that's going away. Yeah. Yep. So if you like arcade racers, that's I've heard. I'm sitting there like, I like arcade racers, and I've heard Forza's really good, so I might check it out.
If you like arcade racers, you 100% should check it out.
It's like $12,
Yeah. I'm trying to think, what is the other game that's come out here soon? I always thought it was arcade. It was on 360. It was a similar thing.
Burnout?
Test Drive Unlimited. I wish, man. I miss Burnout.
Man, testing Burnout Paradise back in the day, Lemon. Just crashing cars and shit all day. Woo, that was fun times.
All right, so do you prefer the old style Burnout or Paradise? Old style being like 3 and Revenge, or do you think Paradise is better?
I think Paradise was better in my opinion.
Okay, I'm like the one who thinks Paradise was a step down. I just do not like the open world.
I like
Burnout.
both. I like both. I like the crashing you could do in 3 and everything like that. Like no one can deny. I think the whole like just seeing the car completely just crunched into oblivion. That was really fun. But I liked Burnout as well. The open world, Paradise. I should say, the open world one. I like both personally. But I think the question always comes to do we think that kind of game would do well in this day and age?
Yeah, I think a silly arcade racer still is going to do well if it's made well.
Yeah.
It's really always. I mean, that's the thing with like people like you would think if I just said, oh hey, like Sony's going to make a 3D platformer, people would be like, oh okay, in 2024 they're just going to make a 3D platformer, like, but you look at Astro and go, well damn, they made a fucking 3D platformer, like that's a damn fine game because it's made well.
I hope it's done well, sales wise. I really hope it's done well.
I'm hearing it's done okay, but 3D platformers are generally, especially not Mario. Like Mario's just gonna drop and hit like a nuclear bomb.
Oh, dude, look at Wonder. Wonder sold like 13 million or something like that within.
but look at like Crash Bandicoot, the Crash trilogy, right? Like that never had a like when it opened up, it never was a like, this is selling gangbusters, and then they just revealed recently it sold like 22 million copies,
right?
Yeah. So like it's 3D platformers that aren't Mario tend to have like just this long life of sales where it's like just consistent for like 3-4 years. So it not blowing up the charts is kind of it's a little like it would have been nice to see Astro, as great as that game is, for them to go, hey, this game like blew the socks off our expectations. It absolutely destroyed everything. Because it's such a fantastic game.
It is.
But for them to go, no, it sold like it was like second place, in Japan, where Astro Bot's not really a known quantity in Japan,
and especially when how expensive PS5 is right now.
Yeah, right. So there's things working against it in Japan. It still sold really well. In the UK, it was like number 2 as well.
Maybe they didn't have as many copies just because they didn't know how well it would sell, but it was sold out. It was sold out in a lot of places.
That's actually one of the things I heard, is that it was sold out in Japan. So it might have just been that they sent like however many 1,000 copies there, thinking, oh, it's probably not going to do that great.
And it sold out really fast, and then it
sold out super fast. They're like, oh shit, we should have sent more copies to Japan. Like, you never know. But
I think they are back. They should be back in stock now and everything. But yeah, I do remember that happening within the first. Because I think I told you, Bobby, Lemon. I don't know if I told you, but my wife was watching me play the first couple hours of Astro Bot, and then she got up and she didn't want to watch anymore. And I'm like, is everything okay? And she's like, yeah, no, you keep playing. When you finish, I'm making my own PlayStation account on your system, and I'm playing Astro Bot. I'm like, okay.
She's like, nah. She's like, I am the captain now. Sorry.
She didn't have to. There's multiple save slots, which I thought was really weird when I turned the game on.
Well, maybe she wanted her own trophies.
Yeah, well, maybe. I don't know about that. But it's funny. Like, my wife never really played video games. The last time she ever really played video games was when she was a kid. Like, she loved Mario RPG and everything back on like the N64 and all that stuff. That's cool. But ever since going out with me and get married and everything, like, she got her own Switch Lite. Then she gave that Switch Lite to her nephews and then got a OLED Switch. She has gotten Mario RPG on the Switch. She's got the Princess Peach game. And so she buys these games and everything. And then now she wants to play Astro Bot. So
you're a really bad influence. You know that?
I think you mean good influence.
Teaching her about good games, not teaching her about crappy ass mobile games or anything. So,
hey man, Flappy Birds is coming back. All right.
That I'm pretty sure that's an NFT scam, Lemon.
No, 100% it is.
I saw a headline. What exactly? So what exactly is happening? I saw a simple headline.
Some company bought the IP for it from the original developers, my understanding, and they're just gonna relaunch it.
No, it's not that. It's that he didn't renew the copyright on it because he didn't want anything to do with it because he stopped it in the first place because he felt like he had created an addiction that was so bad that it was just affecting people's lives. So he that's why he took it off the store, because he felt bad about it. And this company was just like, oh, well, the copyright expired, so we're just going to take it. And now it's looking like they're pushing like crypto with it, which is just like, okay. Like, you're trying to capitalize on people's, early, well, not early, but midlife mobile game nostalgia with crypto and NFT stuff.
It's actually a bit scummier. So I'm reading The Verge, and so it says the Flappy Bird Foundation, which is what this group is calling themselves. Jesus Christ!
Yep.
Said it acquired the rights to the game from Game Tech LLC, which isn't associated with Win, the original developer. So, holy shit! They weren't even the first people to pick it up.
Yep. They got it to sell it to someone else.
And due to the rules, developers lose ownership of an app's name when they remove it, and they can't relaunch it under the same name if another developer is using it. Oh no. That's funny. But you want to feel really old though? Following Flappy Bird's sudden shutdown in 2014.
2014?
God, it was that long ago? For some reason, I feel like I thought it was like 17 or 18. I didn't realize it was 2014.
It was about halfway through my first tenure at my teaching job. So yeah, that checks out.
Okay. For some reason, I feel like it was because that was roughly around the time when I got my current job, and I feel like that was Hybrid came out after that, but I guess not. Them's the breaks.
All right, I'm gonna get some water. Lemon, did you want to jump in? Play some
sure.
Get a couple finals matches in. Bobby, you can make fun of us for playing this game, even though it still does well.
The midterms does well in Asia, Tallen. I've not heard anyone aside from you two in 8 months play that game.
Yeah, that is very true.
I do not know a single person who plays that game aside from you two anymore.
Every time I brought it up to anyone, they're like, what the finals? What's that?
Yeah, power to you guys for sticking with it, but Tallen's like, it still does well, man. It's like Wukong. Wukong sold 18 million copies.
Please recognize it. It's a game, I promise.
How many did it sell in America?
What?
6. Wukong.
Oh, Wukong.
I was like, how many copies did Wukong sell in America? 6.
I saw a TikTok posted on social media somewhere, and they said, okay, I'm giving you guys 3 months to prepare yourselves. You know how everyone was saying, like, not everyone, but like you had that loud group of people saying that Spider-Man should have won Game of the Year last year. Wukong is gonna be that game this year. So he's like 3 months, guys. I'm giving you 3 months to prepare yourselves for that loud noise coming in. I'm like, oh god, he's kind of right, isn't he?
Spider-Man have all the Marvel fanboys. I don't think Wukong really has that, at least not for the kids.
No, Wukong has the toxic gamer.
Yeah, I have noticed there are some people, like, they'll be like, Wukong's Game of the Year, and I'm just like, guys, I like it. It's a fun game, but it is not Game of the Year contender. I think that's unfortunately that's taking away what Game Science was able to do. It should not be dealt with all this, Game of the Year nonsense noise and everything. It should be looked at as it's Game Science's first console game that they made, and they did a good job overall. Now they need to take that and they need to be able to improve things for their next game. That's what everyone should be celebrating, in my opinion.
Yep. Also, be right back.
Like do that, like celebrate that type of stuff, which I feel like is lost on a lot of people, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because, like, like instead of going like, look, I get it. There's a lot of Dragon Ball fans, so they hear, oh, it's based on Journey to the West, just like Dragon Ball, so it's got to be great. And it's like it's the anti-woke warriors, quote unquote. It's just so goddamn old now. They're going like, oh, this is a based game, like all that. Like, it's like, no, like it's a game that's decent. And again, it's like when we had the conversation last week, people going like, well, no, but it's like sold so much. It's like Call of Duty outsells everything every year. It doesn't win Game of the Year because it's not good enough. It sells a ton, but it's not good enough. It doesn't matter if something sells a ton. You think college football is going to win Game of the Year? You think Helldivers is going to win Game of the Year? Like, it's not. And I'm really sorry to pretend it is. And if you notice, I've already seen at least Twitter, which is, basically the pulse of like, quote unquote internet culture. They've already forgotten about Wukong. I don't see anybody talking about Wukong anymore at all.
Oh yeah,
like it's been like 3 weeks.
Well, again, the majority of those sales were over in China. So
yeah,
it makes sense.
Like, yeah, it's totally cool, but like to pretend like, oh, that has to win Game of the Year. It's I don't know. It's not gonna.
I think stop focusing on the Game of the Year stuff and just focus on the fact that a relative new development team made a good game, and now allow them to reflect on what was good, what was not so good, and let them, as the kids say, let them cook and let them improve things for their next game.
Well, yeah, they made like $1 billion, so they better improve.
Yeah,
things for the next
they're rolling in money now, and there's already planned DLC for it and everything, which is awesome.
Yeah,
so
and cool, like absolutely cool, like and make it free because you already made $1 billion.
Yeah, or make like a part of it free, and then like if you have actual story stuff, if you want to charge $5 or something like that for it, I'd pay $5 for it. Yeah, sure, why not?
Sure, yeah.
Again, whatever they do. So.
I need to know when Lemon is back.
Yeah,
because I got something to run by you. A tweet I just saw that's one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
All right, well, once Lemon gets his ass in.
Well, yeah, let him do his thing. He's got to get water. He's got to stretch. Use the restroom. We're getting old, Tallen.
We're old guys, man. I'm 33.
I'm 39 in like a week, so I am an old guy.
And you get to treat yourself to Zelda. So you know what?
Yeah, the day that I'm working.
Oof,
and that's
rough.
the day that I'm supposed to be, or the PS5 Pro pre-orders go live, and I was like, I'm not gonna get one. I'm gonna have to pray I can get one on the 10th from like Best Buy or something. Lemon, you're back. So
Yep, I'm back.
So notorious influencer Colt Eastwood built a PS5 Pro PC equivalent with new parts and a DualSense 5 controller. $897.52. This PC will also save you $300 in PS Plus over the Pro lifespan. I'm guessing this will outperform the PS5 Pro. Thoughts? And here's the build. You guys ready?
Oh boy, I'm ready for this. I gotta hear this.
AMD 7, Ryzen 7, 5800X, CPU cooler, MSI. God damn it. MSI B450A Pro, 2TB M.2, RX 7700 XT, mid-tower case, 500 watt, 80 plus power supply.
Wait. Say it for power supply is what? 7?
500 watt, 80 plus.
Yeah.
Okay. So someone replied and said 16 gigabytes of RAM, keyboard, mouse, and Windows 11 key. And Colt responded with, you don't need 16 gigabytes of RAM. There's already RAM on the GPU. Console uses a shared memory pool.
Wait, how much memory is on this build? 8?
No, none. Oh, because
okay,
because
I missed something there.
Yeah, no. The guy was saying
okay, so there's no. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah,
okay.
The guy replying was saying you missed 16 gigabytes of RAM, a mouse and keyboard, and Windows 11. And he said you don't need 16 gigabytes of RAM because there's already RAM on the GPU.
Oh my!
Please, console fans who've never built a PC, shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. for fuck's sake, like, look, I get a lot of people are pissed off about the price of this thing, but if you don't know what you're talking about, please shut the fuck up and stop trying to make like you understand anything that goes on in the PC
send me that
realm.
link later on. Please send me that link.
Like, holy shit. Here, hold on, let me just send you the
I mean, I
picture.
wish I could probably use my GPU's memory as system memory because it's pretty fast. But that's not how that works.
My God.
You can't use system memory off the PCI bus like that. It's too slow.
That's just, it's so weird. Like,
It's you can't compare a custom configuration like a console to a PC. There's buses and stuff like that you have to worry about. Jesus H, man. That's rough. That's rough. Kids these days.
Man, that guy's like older than I am, I think, dude. Like,
boomers, man. Am I right?
oh, let me see if I can find this man's age. He's got to be near my age.
So, and they're dead serious. There's not satire. They're serious.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Because I just sometimes have to ask that. Like, there's some people who just don't comprehend satire. So
I don't.
That works.
Because he did all, because he's trying to prove the point of like you could build a PC that's better than the PS5 Pro for less, and again leaving stuff out and putting in
fucking tech tips. Come on now.
Like even Linus put out a. Have you guys seen Linus's video where he put out a thing and he was like, this is actually not a bad deal.
Yeah, I did.
Like,
yeah.
I was like,
bad deal.
Linus,
Inflation's a bitch.
Yeah, when Linus says it, it's like you got to take that. Don't take these fucking console warriors. And look, the PlayStation guys who are going like, oh, it's going to outperform a 4090, bro, because it has new ray tracing text. Like, shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about either, because it's not going to outperform a 4090. It may, if they are using stuff that actually is ahead of the curve and they gotta jump on it and they're mass producing it to the part where they can get those mass producing it to the point where they can get those parts from the manufacturers low enough to sell it for $700 and still make a profit. It may match the performance of my graphics card, not my CPU, my graphics card, which means that in certain games like Dragon's Dogma, you'll probably still have like maybe a 40 FPS mode, but otherwise, like, that shit just it's not going to outperform a 4090 system, especially because like a 4090 system is going to have like a 7800 X3D in it,
Well, not even talking about the amount of power a 4090 pulls in is probably more than the PS5 pulls in. So,
easily, yeah.
Are you talking about like wattage? Like,
yeah, just in terms of pure electricity.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. It's bigger than the whole console. Just the GPU is pulling that in. So,
man, I'm playing Borderlands 3 on DirectX 12, which is always a problem with my old card, and it is on high settings, rocking like 150 FPS.
Wasn't Borderlands? Wait, Borderlands 2 or 3?
3.
Wasn't 3 made with AMD in mind?
But what would that do with DX though?
Yeah, it has nothing to do with
DX 12 was fucking rough when it came out. I remember that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, maybe it's just because they've optimized it over the years.
They finally fucking fixed it, which I would love for them to do for Unreal. But at this point,
Bobby, I've got a question for you. Do you use Windows 10 or do you use Windows 11?
I upgraded to 11 because they were like, if you want to. Yeah, if you have 10, you could just upgrade for free to 11.
No, I can't because my PC's too old according to it.
No, your PC's not too old. You have decided not to upgrade your BIOS. That's the reason.
Hey, man, I don't want to upgrade my BIOS, right? It came from the factory. Perfect.
Oh, dear God. Oh, no. Please, Lemon.
Wait. You're really not supposed to update BIOSes. The fact that they allow that now is kind of a security issue. Like, it's firmware. It's not software. There's a reason why it's called firmware. But no, I've never upgraded BIOSes. There's no point. I will die on that hill.
That's wild. I have always, since I built my first computer in like 2008, I have upgraded BIOSes when the opportunity.
God knows. Flashing? Fuck that, man. No.
That was a different time. It was.
I have bricked enough Mobos to know I'm not flashing shit.
It was certainly a different time. It was always a hold your breath moment back in the day.
Now it's scarier than BIOSes.
Now it's easy.
I'm sure it's trivial these days.
Yeah,
like it was super easy when I did it. It was super.
Yeah, no, I'm sure I should do do it. It's probably super trivial, but I just think back in like the 2005, 2006 era, just the horror stories of bricking MOBOs with firmware updates because something fucked up. No, I'm good. I'm good. I don't need Windows 11. It's not for another 6 months, I think, to 8 months. And Microsoft said they're going to stop updating 10.
That's yeah, unless you pay. You got to pay like $100 a year or something.
That's enterprise license. I'm not gonna get into that shit.
Oh, okay.
I switched to Linux, honestly. At this point.
At that point, then just
I'll use Pop 76, which is what the basis of SteamOS is.
Oh, by the way, did you guys hear the final count of Concord Platinum trophies?
69.
69.
69. Nice. First of all. Second of all, the rarest platinum in history. By far.
Really?
It has to be.
I mean, it has to be, yeah, but it's still interesting.
Like, that's gotta be the rarest platinum in history.
I understand Concord did not do well, but how Sony's kind of just ripping it off people's consoles like that seems really bizarre.
Well, what are you gonna do? Like, you're just gonna sit there and stare at the icon because the servers are gone. So,
but like, I saw the I think it was a tweet where they're like, oh yeah, so like screenshots I took in game and Concord just not other. I'm like, that's a little extreme. You could.
Well, that's just because the game isn't listed anymore, right? When you don't have an actual listing, it's got nowhere to put it because there's no actual like directory space for it, right? When the product does not exist, they can't put it under the product.
Well, so if I took a screenshot again, PT or something, does it show up as other also?
Yeah, it would.
Oh, okay,
because PT does not exist anymore.
Oh, I always thought PT was still there, but it's just like you can't download it.
No, I don't think it's on the store at all anymore.
Okay.
Man, I wish I still had that PS4 with PT. That's a shame. But
I think I still technically do.
I'm still laughing at that PC build that you just told us about.
That's please,
just,
if you don't if you've never built a PC, just don't talk. Like, if you own a PC, like I'm a PC gamer, I bought my PC from CyberPower PC, man. It's like, dude, if you haven't built a PC, just shut the fuck up. Like, it's okay to go. This is the problem with people nowadays, and it's a big part of this because of the internet. Like, people are like afraid to say, actually, I don't know. Which, it's okay. If you're young, one of the best, like most admirable traits that I have in anyone is if someone goes, I don't know the answer to that, but let me see if I can find it.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You could build a more powerful PC than consoles back in PS3 days, I want to say. Like, that was actually doable.
I don't.
I could be completely wrong. I have no idea. I'm asking it.
It is after about 6 months.
Okay.
6 months after the console comes out, sure.
Okay.
I think that's
okay. That's
doable.
what it was.
But when it come out, it's generally speaking, it's a wash.
Okay.
I mean, when I first built my first PC, that was 2008, and that was right after PS3 came out, and my PC was running laps around the PS3. And I mean, to be fair, it cost me about $1,000, and that's in 2008 money. So
I don't think that's necessarily a fair comparison though, because the PS3 was such a bizarre fucking architecture too. Like, it was core, and like it was bizarre.
Same thing for
no one could figure that fucker out.
Same thing for the Xbox though. It was going around.
So, all right. So if it's better than Xbox, all right. The PS3, like, no one could program for that thing to save their life, and they could. And there's a reason why emulators for it are so elusive, just because it's such a bizarre architecture.
Naughty Dog.
Yeah,
which reminds me, I want to go. We talked about that Uncharted collection the other day, Tallen.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go play that.
I was playing 2 for a bit. 2's an amazing game. 2's still my favorite game, I think, out of the all the Uncharted games.
Yeah, 2. That's also I played the most though too, so I might be biased.
Yeah, I'm like when I was playing it, like I recognize it's not the best feeling game, I should say, but I think the combination of the fun gameplay, the story, the setting, and everything, I think that's why it was my favorite.
I feel like I need to play 3 again. I really just gave that one a very unfair shake when I played it, because when it came out, like, it was kind of buggy and the game didn't play right. I guess they put a patch out.
I love
Kinda fixed
3.
it.
I thought 3 was a lot.
3 was
That's
okay.
what I'm saying.
3 was
Like,
okay.
I didn't think it was as good as 2, but I still loved it. Like, you know, it's still way better than 1. I was like, you know, the story. I didn't feel like the story was as good as 2, but I felt like some of the set pieces were fucking rad. Still, like the whole plane set piece.
Replay it, because I that was my least favorite Uncharted, even worse than 1. So I think I should need to replay it, because that I don't think I give it a fair shake. I only played it once.
That's, I mean, you know, that happens. Like sometimes we'll play a game and go back and go.
Oh, for sure, yeah, for sure.
This isn't like I didn't like this too much, and now I'm like, you know what, it's all right. You know.
See, that's what happened to me when I replayed Wind Waker. I was like, Wind Waker was my favorite Zelda, far and away. And I replayed, I'm like, this is not my favorite Zelda. This game
I actually
long.
love that game. It's very it is very long, but
for the longest time I was like, I kind of prefer Majora's Mask over this. I prefer Ocarina over this.
I love Majora's Mask. It's like,
see, I feel like I didn't appreciate Majora's Mask as a kid when I played it. I appreciate it a lot more as an adult now.
oh, if you guys played that when it was new, you guys would have played that when you were like what 7? Like,
I think so. It was
7,
maybe
7, 8, give or
10,
take, yeah.
7 to 10.
Zelda.
So
It was my
with that,
first Zelda.
so you're 33 talents. You were like what 91 ish.
91 is when I was born. Yeah.
Yeah. So that would have been like 9 for you guys. Like you guys would have been 9. And for me, I was when that came out, I was like 15. So, you know, for me it was confusing. I was like, wait, hold on, what the hell was going on here? So like I could definitely understand like a 9-year-old.
Yeah,
going, like,
no, I could. I had no idea. I would pretty much get to like the bombers.
Yeah, the bombers. Yeah,
it was the bombers. I want to see boomers. I don't know why. I guess because I'm so used to saying "Okay, boomer." I got to that part. I pretty much got out of the Deku mask, and that was about it. That's as far as I could really ever get. And I remember renting it one time, and there was a complete save on it, and it had like the Great Fairy Sword and stuff. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I blew away the save, and I tried to do it myself, and I couldn't do it. And it wasn't until the 3DS remake that I ever got the Great Fairy Sword again.
man, what a fucking great game! Brad sent me a. He went to Ross and he found a Majora's Mask, like the key art Tallen.
Mm-hmm.
And he had one in his room. I was like, yo, where'd you get that? He's like, oh, I found it at the Ross near me. And I was like, damn. Like, because those are, you know, it's like, those are just, it's random what you find there.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
So he found it. I was like, damn. Well, if you ever see another one, dude, send it to me. And like, you know, like 3 months goes by and he literally sends me a DM on Twitter with a picture of it in his hand. And he's like, do you still want this? And I was like, yes.
Yes.
So he bought it and sent it to me, and I paid him for it and for the shipping and all that. And I was like, thank you so much, Brad. Like, it's like my favorite. Before, like, I love the wild games like Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild. Like, I just love the creativity of those games and how much you can do. Before that, though, like Majora's Mask is my favorite pre-Wild Zelda. So I absolutely just think that game is so creative. And it's just so, I don't know, it's so unusual. Like,
yeah, that's what I like about it. It's just how bizarre it is. The whole game is just so unnervingly bizarre. There's nothing grotesque or anything about it, but it just makes you feel so on edge the whole game.
Yeah, and it's like it's
wrong.
fucking depressing, and it's great.
Yeah, super depressing.
Yeah, you're like, oh, this whole thing is
super depressing.
And even if you like beat the game, it's still like, oh, these people.
Clement, careful of those mines on the cart.
I know. Is that ours or theirs?
Theirs. It's gas.
I ran over it. Oh, that's no, the mine. There's a blinking mine on the platform. What is that?
Probably theirs. So just shoot it. Get rid of it.
Yeah. And Borderlands is great. I can't wait for Borderlands 4.
How much do you want to bet they still have a ways to go on that game?
I'll play that on my PS5 Pro. PS5. You have to say it like Steve Irwin. My PS5. Ah, poor Steve Irwin. What a great guy. All right, what am I doing here, Lilith? Oh, you're giving me... Oh, I'm giving you the cone.
I just felt it down. Oh, shit, am I right? Speak test.
It was a bold choice for them to go, Lilith looks like she's in like her early 30s in Borderlands. So let's get Kate Blanchett, who's in her like mid 50s, to to play Lilith. It's like that's weird. Okay, Kate Blanchett's a great actress, but like, it's just like a weird choice. Like, I guess she originally signed on because the original script was great.
Oh yeah, didn't they have a bunch of script issues with that game? Or
Well,
that
it's
movie?
like the who was the director? What's his fuck? I forget. But the director like came in and was like, "No, we're gonna do all this and this and
Eli
this."
Roth.
Yeah, Eli Roth. He came in and he just sucks. But he came in and was just like, "Oh, we're gonna like change up all this stuff and do it how I want to do it," and it just ended up bad, just bad. So
It's also unusual for him to do a movie like that because he does like Hostel and stuff.
yeah, yeah, that's another one of those things. Like he's all about the
Violence.
yeah, like the really uncomfortably violent movies.
I've never seen Hostel, but I've heard they're pretty gnarly. By the way, my internet went out, so Tallen, I fell out of the game.
Oh, I was wondering. I was like, where were you? And then, oh.
Well, no, it's weird because I'm in this diatribe about Majora's Mask, and all of a sudden I'm like, the stream stopped, and no one's saying anything, and all of a sudden I get kicked out of the game. Discord's like, "Hey, you have really poor connection." I'm like, the fuck's going on? And all of a sudden, you guys start talking about Borderlands. Like, what's going on? What's going on, guys?
Wait a second here.
So yeah, after you finish that game, invite me again.
What's going on? What's going on?
It's unusual for your internet to go out like that, just completely go out.
It's been getting progressively worse to the point where I'm contemplating paying an extra $10 or so a month to T-Mobile so I have a backup hotspot for it. Because I feel like it's been getting worse and worse this year, which sucks ass because they've been great. My ISP has been awesome this whole time I've been in this house, except for this year. And it sucks. Pisses me off. Because it's like, oh, I can go to CenturyLink or Comcast. Oh boy. Like,
All right, I thought you had the fiber optics that they had there.
I do, and they keep shit in the bed. And in fact, I actually emailed their support one time. And anyone who's listening to this is in IT should know good and well their response is super bad and shouldn't have done this. They responded back. I emailed them and was like, "Hey, my internet's out." And like, yeah. So they responded like, "Yeah, our network card went out." I'm like, what? Why are you telling me this? You shouldn't tell people that. You shouldn't be telling people anything about what's going on in your data center. But yeah, so I guess their network cards keep going out because this happens all the fucking time now. And it makes me a very sad panda.
Oh my god. Okay, so I was playing Borderlands, I closed it, and it's like, oh, you got, I don't know how this just opened, but it's a Microsoft game thing that's like, here's your rewards for playing a PC game, right? So they give you like 5 points or whatever towards your, next Xbox
Purchase or
Game
whatever.
Pass. Yeah. But I was like, oh, and I opened, like, I accidentally clicked on the social menu and I'm going down and I'm like, oh my god, these are the people I worked at with EA 15 years ago are still my Xbox friends. I've been talking to these people in 15 years.
Isn't it fun?
Wow. One of them was on yesterday. Oh, and there's my buddy who worked with me, who is still one of my best friends. Last seen online 1 hour ago, which means he was on his PC because he just lets everything open. Oh, but yeah, Daryl, he was one of the leads. And Conrad, oh my goodness.
Lemon,
That's
we'll
wild.
have to do another Mario Kart night when I come back to the States next year.
That's one of those things that, like, because we were just compliance, our name was never in the credits. Makes me sad. But I can still play all those old games and see my boss's names in the credits because we were contractors. They just kept renewing our contracts for like 2 years. So
the Microsoft way.
yeah, and that was, and then they were like, one day we went in and they're like, hey, everybody, they let us work for like 30 minutes. So we all get there like 9 a.m. We start working, and then 30 minutes in, we see like the floor manager walk in, and he calls all the like our leads out, like our managers. And we're all just alone there, which is like that's never supposed to happen because the security, they don't want you taking a disc and putting it in your bag or anything. And we're kind of like, that can't be good. And then they don't come back, and the floor manager goes, "Hey guys, need everybody to take their software out and put it up on your leads station. You know, whoever your lead was, put it on their station. You know, because they would just leave the builds like." You know, on a spool with like copies of the build that we were working on. Like, put it on your lead station, and then we need you to come over to the meeting room right here. Like the entire floor goes in there and like, so this is your last day today, guys. We're going to be asking you to leave immediately.
Yep.
You are welcome to grab your things. You're also welcome to go to. They had a little store, this was super nice, right? Because we had just been paid, so they were like, you can go to the store, buy any games you'd like. And then once you know you're done with that, if you choose to do that, once you're done with that, let them know that you're going to be turning your badge into them.
In the store itself?
Yeah, because they would just because the store was like within like 25 feet of the main building entrance, right?
Okay.
So they were like, oh yeah, you know, you can just leave it with the store, and once you're done, but feel free to buy whatever you like, and. Yeah, you know, we're sorry about that, but
no, they weren't.
You know,
they weren't sorry about that.
No, and I was like, okay. So yeah, and they were like, you know, if you don't want to do that, go ahead and leave your badge with us now. So like, ton of us went to the store and basically, this is not
stock.
Oh, yeah, we just bought as much as we could and scalped everything.
Yep. Yeah.
Because they're like, you just laid us off. Why would we not? You know, because they would sell PC copies for $10 and console copies for $20. And so you could easily go and be like, hey, I have this new sealed version of like Battlefield that I bought, but I don't really want it. If you want it, you can have it for $50 instead of 60,
sure. eBay,
right?
Man.
Yeah, no, not even Craigslist. That was when Craigslist was a thing, Lemon.
Oh yeah.
So you could just
God, Craigslist. I remember that.
Go to the Safeway.
Yeah, you could be like, you could be like, hit me up and you know, I'll meet you at the grocery store. Exactly. Just like meet you at the drugstore down the street. I basically doubled my money off my paycheck with that, and I was like, well, that'll hold me over for a while, and now I've got unemployment too. So, yeah, that was a fun day. I mean, that's one of my favorite jobs I've ever had, and if it didn't bum me out so much losing it, I probably would still have at least tried to be in the game industry still, because I really love that testing. Like my brain understood it, you know.
Yeah,
like just look for compliance testing. I'm sure you've dealt with that.
Well, it's funny. I got into computers because I really wanted to be a developer as a kid growing up. I was like, I want to make video games. It's the coolest thing ever. And when I got to school, I kind of learned how shitty the video game industry was relative to other areas of software.
Yeah, you go to other software dev and they're giving you massages in your desk. They have nap pods. Video games, it's like you're in a closet. You know, everyone smells like Pringles and ass. You know, like it's just like, okay, I'm just gonna go work for Facebook. You know, or for
I'll just play games as a hobby.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
It's one thing, you know, like people say, don't turn your hobby into a job because it can.
100%.
Yeah, because I've actually seen the office for Square Enix in Japan. They actually have a lot of that stuff for their workers there. So
they do. A lot of places do more now.
It depends on the company.
Yeah, it depends on the company. Like EA was never bad. It was actually really nice. They had a big floor. Like we all had. I mean, there wasn't cubicles, but there was like stations. You know, it was just like big row of like tables that were set up with the. Some of them had the CRT, some of them had because it was kind of that transition point. So some of them had the flat screen HDs, some of them had the CRTs, so you could test every resolution. That was on 360, PS3, and Wii were out.
Oh, jeez.
And so we had to test for PS2 because back then they made a separate version for PS2 as well.
You know, they made games for the PS2 for quite a while still, didn't they? Even after the PS3 release? Yeah.
And then same thing with the Xbox didn't. Xbox was just like 360, that's it. Right, like we never had Xbox games, at least not that I remember. I don't ever remember testing like an Xbox game. But that the 360 came out like 2005, and that was 2008. So they might have just ended support really before I got in. But no, it was like cool. We all had room to work and all that, and like they subsidized the snack machines, which was really nice. Especially like there's a period there where broke up with the lady I was seeing at the time, so I was paying for the place we were living by myself. I'm like, I can afford like potatoes, oil, and then like granola bars from the machine at work because they're a quarter, and that's how I lived. Because I had to pay the rent on the place by myself. But it was it was still like awesome because I was able to do that.
Right.
But yeah, like it ended up being one of my favorite jobs I ever had. I was really good at it. They actually, funny enough, they made me right before, it was 5 days I think before they shut us down. The floor manager called me in. He's like, "Hey man, you seem really good with Nintendo stuff. Like you always catch like weird stuff that nobody else sees." I'm like, "Oh yeah, because you guys tell me to like look for this, look for that. I don't know how people don't see it, he's like, "Hey, so we're gonna do, because Nintendo's the problematic one, because like I don't know how it is now, but back then Nintendo was super harsh. Like if you had one graphical issue, like you would fail, right? Whereas like PlayStation, you have like a building that like flashes, right? Not loading everything right, flashes a little bit. They're like, oh, just patch it. We'll pass you. Or Nintendo's like, if you have a word bubble, right, and a piece of text touches the black outline of the word bubble, you fail. Like that's how hardcore they were back in the day, right? So like I would catch little stuff like that, or I'd be like, yeah, hey, the pixels here are like they're uneven, right? And I know Nintendo cares about presentation. We might want to look into that. And there's so many times like I had devs and the floor manager go like, man, you saved us 10 grand for a resubmit, so thank you. And so he called me in and was like, hey man, you're good with Nintendo, like we want to start an actual team that's dedicated to Nintendo, and we want you to lead it because you can teach all these people what you look for.
Oh dude, that would have been cool.
I know. And it was literally, he was like, hey, we're gonna get it set up in the next few weeks. You would be a permanent employee, so we'll have
dude, that would have been awesome.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason I was so bummed about losing that job, is because like they literally after 2 years they were like, you're good enough at this that we want to make you a permanent employee, and then they shut the whole thing down. So like it was kind of crushing. But
Lemon, did you flake out again? Did your internet?
Yeah,
he did. I saw Stunning Lemon has left the game on the screen.
Oh,
sorry, my dude.
Oh.
I gave up trying. I just quit the game. I was like, I gave up.
No,
trying.
I think
My ISP is like, fuck it. We're no games for you, boy.
Hey Lemon, if you need a 1 terabyte storage expansion for your Xbox Series X or S, they have them on sale at Best Buy for $123.49 right now.
So I don't think my Xbox has been plugged in for about 3 months now, 4 months.
just sell it.
You should just sell it. Trade it in towards a PS5 Pro, Lemon. You already have a 4090. What do you even need an Xbox for?
Hey man, no, I'm better than Nvidia. I have an AMD GPU. I'm better.
Oh, that's right. You have the 7900 XTX.
Yep.
That is a really good GPU, especially for the price.
It's in between the 80 and the 4080 and 4090. It's a good card.
For rasterization, it's hard to beat that, and you're not going to beat it for the price. Like
no, for the price, you're not gonna beat it.
I'm really not much of a PC gamer. I generally buy overpriced stuff, expensive, builds, and let it, sit for 5-6 years.
See, for a lot of people, what it is like they're just like, well, I don't want to sit at a desk, and I get that. Like, I don't always want to sit at my desk.
No,
like,
that's me. I really I want to sit on a couch. I sit at a desk all day. I'm a code monkey, so I want to sit on a couch, big screen, surround sound.
Yeah. Get yourself like an Xbox controller with a dongle. Get yourself like a 30-foot HDMI. Plug that into your TV, man. That's what I do with like if I'm like, oh, I want to play Alan Wake 2 and I want to play it on a computer, I'll play it in like 55 struggle frames on my 4070 on my 4K TV. Like okay, so I get to chill. Like,
it's funny, when I moved into my place, I think Overwatch just came out, so that's exactly what I did. I just plugged my PC into my television and just played that.
Yep.
And it was like, this is great.
I have like a 30-foot HDMI just for that in my room, literally just for when I want to play like Red Dead. because Red Dead, like, because it's so old, like, on my card now it runs like 115 FPS in 4K with max settings because it has DLSS on it.
Red Dead runs so fucking well. That game still looks amazing.
Oh yeah, it's still one of the best looking games that's ever been made.
Say what you will about Rockstar, but they make good looking games.
They do, and like, I don't know, one of these days I'll play GTA 5, maybe.
You never played GTA 5?
No, I played 3 in Vice City way too much back in the day. Then I played 4, and I was kind of like, okay. And I just, by the end of 4, I was kind of like, and because I was just so burned out from the other ones, I was like, okay, I got through it, so I'm done. Just like didn't touch it again. Then 5 came out, and I was like, like I've never played. I have it on 2 platforms. I have it on PlayStation and on because I think they gave it away. I bought it on Steam for like $15, like 8 years ago or something. And then I got it on PS5 or something. They gave it away with PS Plus. Yeah. So, so that was a whole thing. But I've never actually played GTA 5, and I see my brother play it. And I was like,
doesn't your brother play like all the time?
He loves it, and he's like, he's riding like a rocket bike around and like throwing nukes at people and shit. I'm like,
so that's I have no idea about that. Like, I played when it first came out. I bought it at Toys R Us, like the last games I bought before that place closed down.
Wow.
It was my second GTA because I bought 4 when it came out. I think I just turned 17 or something. Because my parents wouldn't buy it for like, oh my god, I'm gonna buy GTA for you. That's bad. It's really bad.
Yeah.
Turns out it's really not bad at all compared to most movies, but I digress. It was good. I played through it before the multiplayer came out. It was cool, but the multiplayer came out, like, this is all right, I guess. Whatever. And then the multiplayer popped off, and I still haven't felt compelled to even turn it on to play multiplayer. Don't care. Maybe if you have a bunch of friends who play it, it's cool, but I don't really.
That
no one I know plays it.
Yeah, it's like if I do play it, I probably won't play the online. I'll probably just play the campaign and then.
I mean, it's
call
good.
It a day.
I mean, it's a fun little. It's not even little. It's a pretty long, quote unquote campaign. It's a pretty long game.
You know what was surprisingly long was Alan Wake 2. I was like shocked at how long that game was, and it wasn't bad, but I was like, man, this is pretty long. Like,
yeah, I thought the same thing too. Yeah, I guess because whenever I think of like single player games, I always think back to like the 360 PS3 era. Games were rarely ever 10 hours long, single player games.
Yeah.
So I was thinking like God of War 3, which is like I think 4 hours or something when I played it. It was like,
oh yeah, games were definitely shorter back then.
No, Alan Wake 2. I think Alan Wake 2 was like solid amount. I think it was like what, 15 or so hours.
Yeah, I would say getting closer to 20.
Yeah,
at least for my playthrough. I mean, I always do the explore thing, so I always take generally a little longer than other people.
I was nearly at a platinum for it, so I think I probably took my time too. So probably closer to 20. I think like that.
I just got rocketed to the face.
Good. You deserved it. All the kills you've stolen from me.
Damn.
Karma, guy. Karma.
Man, Assassin's Creed Shadows is kind of looking cooler and cooler every time I see it.
I genuinely, until today, thought it was coming out next year. I did not know it was coming out this year.
It's coming out in November.
Yeah, I did not realize that.
Which that and Dragon Quest are probably going to be 2 day ones for me. That'll be my
Dragon
November
Quest is definitely a day one for me. Assassins, I'll probably get either.
Oh, I'm never gonna pay full price for an Ubisoft game.
Oh no, just do the if you want to play it day one, just do the Ubisoft subscription thing for a month, then cancel.
That's actually just point, Lemon. Because I can hold on. Let me see. Let's go to Best Buy.
Just wait 2 months. It'll be on
sale. Wars Outlaws is on discount yet.
It shouldn't. Not yet. It's not. It's only been a couple of weeks still.
You clearly don't know Ubisoft, my friend.
I thought Ubisoft always takes the first month and then it's on sale.
Yeah, it's usually a couple of months, but Outlaws needs to make money fast because I don't think it's sold super well.
Not to mention their stock is like down the drain right now.
Tanking. Yeah.
And then there's the whole thing about the shakeup with the board. There, I still don't know what to make of it. I don't know what's going on. It sounds like the board's trying to oust the family that technically owns it.
Yeah,
So
like
there might
all,
be
like
a-
all the higher positions they're all family in some way, and
And they're fucking up.
yep.
Ubisoft.
Yeah, it's the Guillemot family, right? Yves
Yeah.
Guillemot, whatever his name is.
Financial analyst downgrade Ubisoft stock, citing Star Wars Outlaws something.
Ooh,
Underperformed expectations.
that's bad. That's Suicide Squad bad. No, I mean obviously not that bad, but
I was say it's
I
not
thought
that
Star
bad.
Wars
'Cause
Outlaws. I thought Star Wars Outlaws would do better because it's Star Wars. Like Star Wars tends to do.
I thought the name
good
alone would do a
regardless.
little bit better, but I guess
Yeah,
not.
exactly. You know what's gonna do good this year, and it's gonna just depress me is Call of Duty.
Oh yeah,
Every
no,
year.
they are.
That shit. I don't understand it.
Well, then and then
Never get
Microsoft's gonna be like, oh, so this is the power of Call of Duty, and then everything's just gonna be like, yeah, f this stuff, Call of Duty. Just everything focuses on Call of Duty.
It is
Yeah, man,
interesting,
Activision
you know.
did.
People are, yeah, that's exactly what Activision did.
Yeah.
People are talking and going, you know, like, hey, oh my God, what was I gonna say? Oh, they're going, hey, you know, Microsoft's gonna bring back all these old IPs. Like, no,
they're not. No, they're
gonna
not.
see that Call of Duty money and go, all right, everybody, right?
Yep.
It's like, but you know what I'm worried about? Just for them, because, like, really, I just want them to be good. Like, oh, but I really want Fable to be good. I really want Fable to be good. I'm worried because they keep showing these tiny little 1 second things and going, that's gameplay right there.
No,
That's
God, I
gameplay right there."
shake my head
And I'm
whenever
like,
I see that.
like you show her walking and you show like one, like, you know, 0.8 second clip of combat, like, ugh, you know.
Plus, is that game really gonna look that good on the Series S? Like, yeah.
No, I mean, but I'm gonna buy it on PC if I
Right,
buy
yeah.
it, if it's good, right? It's the same thing with like Avowed. If that ends up being good, which I don't know if it will, but if it ends up being good, then I'm gonna get it on PC, right? And it's like I've always said, like I'm always willing to buy a Microsoft game if
It's good. Yeah.
But it's so very rare that it is good. Like that's what.
All I'm saying is that there's very, very few franchises I'm glad Microsoft got a hold of. Fable is one of them though, because there's no one worse than Peter Molyneux. So I have faith in
Yeah, but
Because I feel like Peter Molyneux
you're not-
would ruin Fable
you're not
more than he
moving-
already has.
you're not moving too much up though.
It's still up though. It is forward progress, albeit very small.
You know what I really want is I want Light No Fire. I want to see what that's about.
Right? Is that the Peter Molyneux?
No, that's the Hello Games.
Okay. So, okay. Oh, this game. Okay.
Yeah, like I want that.
Speaking of Pure Molyneux, hopefully this game will come out in a better state than. Oh Jesus.
No Man's Sky.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, if you've heard the stuff they've done with No Man's Sky recently,
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm hoping
It's
they
super
sit on it
impressive.
for a while, like in the same time span as the first few patches of No Man's Sky. I think they could have a winner on their hands because people really like No Man's Sky now, but when it came out, it was a laughing stock.
Oh yeah, no,
Yes.
it definitely was. Yeah.
yep. I remember. Yeah, I remember my roommate
Oh, yeah.
was playing it, and I was like, oh, I heard this. I heard this is kind of bad, man. He was like, you know, it's I could just kind of sit and farm stuff. But yeah, there's not really all that much to do. And I was like, ooh, like he's like, oh, but you know, I'm enjoying. You know, he's a guy who's like. He likes RTS games and city builders and like stuff like that. So he's like, I can run around, fly through space, and like farm stuff on a planet. Like it's a really, really basic survival game. You know, I'm okay with it. Yeah, it's not everything they promised, but I'm okay with what it is. Like, and now he's like, yeah, I still love it, and it's just crazy now. And I'm like, yeah, that's wild. That's the turnaround, probably the turnaround for gaming history.
Yep.
is that game.
It's certainly up there, if not the top. That's
yeah,
for sure.
I can't think of anything off the top of my head that really pulled its own ass out of a fire like No Man's Sky. Destiny 2 did.
Final Fantasy.
I've had
14.
Yeah, I've had 14's
14,
definitely
yeah.
up there.
14.
Yeah, 14's up there.
I think of that.
That might be on par. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, that's same thing with Destiny 2. Where that game was literally, they were like, we're like 3 weeks from being dead, and then they put out their expansion and
saved it somehow.
that was they put out the secret mission for the Whisper of the Worm, and just the mystery of like a random secret mission brought tons of people back, and they were like, okay, guys, we're still alive. Like, let's get this next
Lemon, I think
expansion
your
out.
clone is in this game.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah, someone just is lobbing grenades at like no tomorrow.
The strats continue to flourish, even though Lemon has fallen.
It's like the old school days of Call of Duty 2 on PC, where it's just like 64-player matches on a 12-player map. Just grenade indicators everywhere. The best.
All right, gentlemen, I gotta go because I got my first day tomorrow.
So good luck, man. Good luck. Let me know how it goes.
To sleep. Yep. I will catch you all later.
All right, take it easy, man.
Yep.
See you
Have a
around.
good evening. And good night, chat.
We'll definitely have a game here, and then I'm probably gonna call the stream as well. So.
All right, Capitan. I have to go finish Astro Bot.
Yeah, you gotta get that platinum.
Super duper close.
Fun game though, right?
I like it a lot. Is it? I think it's slightly overrated. I think it's closer to a 90. Not like it's splitting hairs, but
90 and 95, man. It's so much different.
I think I will say though, the only detriments I have for the game is that I think the challenge levels are not hard, they're obnoxious, and that's really the only issue I have with the game. I really enjoy the normal levels. I really hate the challenge levels because they're not hard. I feel like I'm fighting with
the only challenge levels I hate was the one that had to use the effing duck. Hated that one.
The duck one sucked.
The duck one sucked. Hated that one.
There's another one that really pissed me off too. I think which one it was.
I think most of them took me 3 or 4 tries.
It was the beat one. I hated that one.
Oh, don't. Okay, so it's funny. I think Bobby had trouble with that one as well. Don't try to follow the beat. Just look at.
I tried to follow the beat, and it did not work.
Don't do it. No, you can't. You don't follow the beat. All you got to do is just watch, because it's that first area where the platforms turn into spikes and then they go back to the jumping. Just watch the pattern. Just stay on one side for half of it and one side on the other half. That's all you have to do. And then after that, you just go through like normal. That's all you have to do.
Pissed me off so goddamn much because I was convinced they were skipping beats. I was like, I'm not.
No.
I don't have a sense of rhythm.
Don't try to follow some kind of rhythm game or anything like that.
Just even I knew. I was like, this feels off. Like I there's something very off about this. Yeah, those are probably the two that really pissed me off the most. But no, I think as a whole, like in the next game, fingers crossed, Astro Bot 2. I hope they do less challenge levels and just more.
Well, they're having free DLC come out soon, so
I hate DLC because I'm going to come back to the game and I'm going to be super bad at the game. I guess for Astro Bot, it's not super crazy because it's a pure platformer.
It's a platformer.
So
you take a couple minutes to get used to the jumping, and that's all you have to do. So. I
mean, I will say, I think Astro Bot might be the best pure platformer PlayStation's ever had across any platform. I still feel like I enjoy Ratchet and Clank more, which I don't consider.
I don't really consider that a
platformer
though.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So I don't really have a whole lot of qualms saying I prefer Ratchet because it's technically a different sort of genre. But no, I really enjoyed it. I thought I had a fun time with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably my number 2 game of the year after Yakuza.
Right.
So I really like that series.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, it knocked off Final Fantasy or Cloud. So it's not number 3. We'll see where Zelda puts it. We'll see where.
I've heard nothing but good things about Zelda from people who've tried it at like PAX and everything. So
my only issue with it is that if it's too different from the formula. Like, if you're like, oh,
I've
it's not a
heard
real
it goes
Zelda
back
game.
to the old school way of playing it, but they do have some new stuff in it. Again, we'll have to wait. We just have to try it out ourselves. So,
Yeah, no, I'm looking for it. It's definitely. I mean, of course, it's day one.
yeah.
Was
It's
ever
gonna
in
be like
question.
day 4 for me because that literally releases as I'm at TGS. So,
It's a Switch game. You can play it.
not with all the interviews
train.
and everything. I'm not gonna have time, dude. So, all right, guys. With that being said, though, we're gonna end the stream there. Thank you so much for everyone who stopped by. It was a lot of fun hanging out and chatting with people. And Lemon, as always, thanks for stopping by and giving your raw thoughts on the PS5 Pro and all that stuff, which I'm sure everyone's gonna forget about in like a week. So,
Yep.
anyway, with that being said, though, guys, I'm Tallen with Direct Gaming. Thank you so much for stopping by. Until next time, everyone. See you all in the next one. Johnny.